Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Costume Co. This is going to be such a fun stream tonight. It's almost the holidays, so I thought last time I had William Swift on, we said, hey, let's come back and do a fun little holiday stream tonight. So that's what we're doing today. And I've also got another special guest with me. So to get started, some of you know William. He's to my left, maybe to your right. And we also have Michael Heagle here, who is a special guest. He's also a collector. So before we kind of get going with what we're doing, why don't we just kind of go around and, everyone can share a little bit about themselves and tell the audience who you are in case they don't know. Michael, why don't we start with you because it's our first time having you and I'm delighted that you're here.
Sure. It's great. It's really awesome to be here as well. So my name is Michael, and I am actually a professor at the University of Wisconsin Stout out of Menominee. And I live in the Twin Cities. I've been a filmmaker since I was about 12 years old. And so that puts it in the era when you would buy Super 8 film at Kmart and have it processed at Kmart, bringing it home, watching it in the car, an inch at a time to see if you had an exposure. So I went to college at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, where I got my undergraduate in film and got my MFA from Academy of Art in San Francisco in visual effects and animation. And since 2000, I've been teaching at the college level. I started here in the Twin Cities at a place called Art Institutes, which was one of those for-profit institutions that have been since kneecapped by having sort of unhealthy recruiting practices. So when that place closed, got me focusing on some other things, including more filmmaking stuff. I worked on the daytime Emmy-winning show Danger and Eggs. Produced some feature films of my own, very low rent things, which we can talk about. And one of them is on Tubi right now called Transylvania Television. It's a series. It's about a 10-episode series of puppets comedy, very adult puppets. Looks like Muppets, but very dirty stuff. And
oh, wow.
I guess yes. Technically a big film collector now as well. And that's where William and I sort of crossed over. And I've been helping him get his museum off the ground kind of from the get-go. So we've got lots of stories, lots of horror stories to share.
Wow, Michael, that's amazing. Yeah, so that's what I was going to ask. So before we get to how the two of you met, like, William, why don't you just tell everybody who doesn't know you yet? I've had you on a few times.
Sure.
Yourself, and then we'll sort of connect the dots.
Yeah. Well, hello, newcomers. If you don't know who I am, my name is William Swift. I am the owner and curator of Enchanted Fantasy Film Museum. This is Minnesota's first ever movie museum. I've spent about 6 years now of my life amassing what is now, I believe, the largest collection of film costume currently on display in all of North America. I now have about 200 costumes up on display from over 50 films and TV shows. And I'm a big lover of movies. I'm also a costume designer. I've been doing costume design now for almost 10 years, and I've worked on a couple of different film productions, nothing too crazy, but still kind of cool. So that's me. Yeah.
And obviously you're sitting in your actual museum. You've got a
beautiful
display.
Yeah. I'm currently sitting in my...
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm currently sitting in my Narnian forest here. So, yeah.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a tour. So for those who said, oh, Will's been on before. Yeah, William's been on. We had him back, I think, when you opened your museum. We did 2 parts, actually.
Yeah.
And he gave us a tour, like a 2-part tour. And then even before that, I think we were in your home. You had
about a year ago, a little over a year ago.
Yeah, before you opened the museum. So that was really exciting. And Michael, I don't know if you popped in, I think you said, and saw him as we were trying to get him to the point where he could actually open up the museum.
Totally. Yeah. I had been following the kind of community stuff on Facebook, which is a mistake if you're trying to save money. Everybody's offering like, oh, I'm a bargain hunter pretty specifically. That's like my main interest level is like, how can I get in on this stuff as inexpensively as possible? But Will's name would keep popping up and like, okay, Wait, he's listed in Minneapolis. Okay, I should just contact him and say, what are you doing anything? Because sure enough, it was about the time that he was proposing putting a show together. And we've just been through
I'm totally joking because you meet everyone online.
Yeah. And one thing led to another, and it escalated, and it hasn't stopped growing. I mean, in the 6 months it's been open, everything is bigger and bigger. I'm doing, I'm sure talk about it, the signage for Will's museum, which is ongoing, ever growing.
Yeah. So you're also an amateur graphic designer, I understand, or maybe not amateur, maybe you're a professional graphic designer.
It has become professional. When I was out of college, but before I started teaching, I worked at a copy shop, for about 7 years while I was making my first film. And it was pretty early in the sort of desktop publishing period. And I was self-taught on everything, Photoshop and everything. Very exciting time to do that. I would always it was a Kinko's. I would always come after work and hang out and learn how to do stuff. And in fact, many of my visual effects shots from my first film were done on the machines at Kinko's with an illicit copy of Adobe After Effects and things. So just years and years of doing that. And I'm finally to the point where I can do it like my movie editing and sound and other things that I've had to learn, kind of can do it in my sleep a little bit and can more focus on the aesthetic of it instead of the where's that button part of it, which comes in part from just teaching the stuff for so long. And I'm married to a graphic designer, so she's always like in my ear about the typography on that could be better. Those sorts of concerns, which is great. You grow.
I was just going to say, before we move on, I just want to welcome everyone who's here, by the way. I think some of them William might be some of your friends who are here. And
hi, guys.
So we've got, I want to say hello to Valiasa. She's been here she said she was very excited for this. And Meme Storage. We also have Kitties. Hi, Kitties. She's one of our regular lovely persons. And Casey is here as well. We've got Alicia, who's one of my gal pals. I live stream with her. And who else is here? Terry Stowe is here. He says, hey, Will.
Oh, hey, Terry. I think Mason's watching too.
And Mason. Okay. So we've got a nice little crowd coming in. So if anyone's just joining us right now, we're doing like a bit of a holiday stream. If you would like to grab a beverage, totally cool, or a non-alcoholic beverage is great as well. We're going to have a little bit of a celebratory drink. And also Michael has some costumes and some props, I believe, that maybe he'll give us a little bit of a gander at. And William also, it might show us some new things that he's acquired recently. Plus maybe we'll get a little, I was going to call it the twirly whirly forest. So just watch Elf. We'll get a little tour of the Narnia forest.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so where do you guys want to start? I know I'm running the show here, but maybe I'll open it up to the floor. Well, do you want us to do?
What was that, Heidi?
He's frozen.
Am I frozen?
Oh no, you're not. Can you hear me? Did you want to start by maybe showing something or talking about something?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
So I don't have much for Christmas props. I've been trying to get more, but there's very specific Christmas collectors out there, so they usually outbid me on anything Christmas, which is always frustrating. But I do have some props from the Grinch here, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
So
he's not working on the Narnia show. He has a collection of costumes. Maybe you can explain that.
Yeah. So I have a lot of different things, but I have an entire section in my museum dedicated to Narnia. For example, I think you can see my little Telmarine back there from Narnia, and then the mascot of our live stream, Edmund, is in the corner over here. I don't know if you guys can see him, but
yes. And he's the one I had on the thumbnail.
Yeah. So I love Narnia as a kid. So when I first started collecting stuff, that was kind of the first thing that I hunted after, and I'm very lucky to have a lot of stuff in Narnia, which is pretty cool.
And that's the Prince Caspian version, right? I believe part 2.
No, so that is from Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. That
It
my
is.
costume. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And that's I think one of like 7 in the world, if I'm not mistaken.
Amazing.
I have the original costume tags from the wardrobe department, and it says one of 7. So pretty crazy. Yeah.
Oh, I see what Alicia was saying. She thought at first when she saw that, she thought it might have been Jamie Lannister because it's got the lion, the rampant lion. But yeah, so
yeah.
it's actually like red. Is it red velvet? I believe, and then he's
It
wearing
is red velvet.
shirt.
Yeah. I don't know if we should talk about that now yet, Heidi, but
No, we won't. We'll go back to what you were saying. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, so I was
to know if you've ever eaten Turkish delight.
I have eaten some Turkish delight.
And would you betray your siblings or friends for the treat?
Yeah, maybe not for Turkish delight.
Yeah,
but if it was like, gosh, like I love Lifesaver gummies. So if it was like a unlimited supply of Lifesaver gummies, like I might be tempted, to be honest with you.
I'd be like that with nachos. Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
Hi, Michael.
But yeah.
Well, we're gonna get to that in a bit. We'll talk about Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So sorry, William. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I have a few relics here from The Grinch. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I have some silverware from the Who Feast at the end of the movie. And then this here, so this is pretty cool. So Grinch stuff is really hard to come by because it's usually really rare. I mean, it's a 25-year-old movie now, Heidi, which is crazy.
So people can see. There you go.
Yeah, and also Universal. So and Universal stuff is really hard to get because they will archive everything. And what they don't archive, they usually incinerate. So to get anything from the Grinch is pretty rare. But I have one of the schoolgirls' little hair braid sets here, which is pretty cool, which is pretty iconic to the movie. This isn't Cindy Lou Who's hair, but it's pretty close. This is one of like the background actors' hair pieces. And so to just have that, because it's so iconic, is so cool. And it's in really great condition considering how old the piece is. There's not really any like loose hair. Whoever had this before me really took really great care of it. And then this here is a makeup bust for some of the Who background actors. I think this was just like a test bust to kind of go to Ron Howard to show him what what they were thinking for the makeup.
Yeah, that's very cool. I forgot Ron Howard directed it.
Yeah. And then I have right here one of the like background masks for the background actor. So
oh my gosh.
And it's got this cute little nose and little mustache. And it kind of surprisingly matches really well with my skin tone, which I kind of love.
Is that what the actors wore? They wore masks like that?
The back, like the way in the back, they did, yeah.
Oh, the background.
Yeah.
But the principals would have worn
like the appliances. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
And then
that bust that you have there, what's she wearing? It looks like you've got a little like
Yeah, I just put a little shawl over her and I gave her a little gingerbread necklace just to give her a little give her a little Christmassy vibe a little bit. And then I added the wig there because the hair piece is actually just like a hairband that they just would have put on. So to make it a little bit more displayable, I added all those pieces.
So nice.
Yeah. And then as far as other Christmas props, I don't have much, but I do have this little Christmas list here, which is pretty cool. And this is actually from the Santa Claus 2. I don't know if you've ever seen the Santa Claus 2.
Yes, of course. I know the Santa Claus.
So it's this really long list. It says like Christmas list.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is like the screen used one, but this is definitely a production made version, which is still pretty cool.
That is.
And it's got all kinds of names on here. Michael, I think your name's on here. Yep, Michael Heagle.
Nice.
He's on the nice list.
Oh no.
Is he on the nice list? Is there a naughty
list? He is. There is a naughty list. I think the naughty list is on the right. So that's so interesting.
Um,
Yeah.
and then what's with the little puppy dog with the hat there?
That's just my Christmas puppy. His name is
Oh,
Jack.
so cute.
He's usually at my front desk to greet guests.
That's lovely.
And yeah, he wanted to meet you, so I brought him out
I
here.
really do. My husband's name is Jack, so I'll
Is
have to.
it?
Is he a Jack Russell? He's not a Jack Russell though.
No, I think he's a lab.
He's a lab. Now, I
Yes.
haven't mentioned this because now that I have you on big, your outfit's very nice.
Thank you.
You know, obviously,
Thank you.
well, you always look great.
I'm a bit of a fashionista. What can I say,
Yeah,
Heidi?
you always have the best hats. Now,
I love
Casey
hats.
Nichols asks, are they on the nice list? Is there a Casey on that
Casey
list?
Nichols is on the extremely nice list.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
excellent.
So not to give her a big shout out, but Casey is she may or may not be like my number one customer. She's come in now, I want to say near 15 times,
Oh my
roughly.
gosh. What a supporter. Super supporter.
Yeah, she's been great. She's been really great. Her and her mom have been phenomenal.
Oh, and that reminds me, speaking of supporting, if anyone would like to support William, he has a Patreon. I have put it at the top of the chat. So it's in the pinned comment. And I'm assuming you have different levels, perhaps?
I do. Yeah, I have different Patreon tiers.
Okay.
They go all the way up to, I believe, $20 a month, and then as little as $1 a month. So feel free
that's a
to
really easy, a very
subscribe if
inexpensive
you
way to
want.
support you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because we were talking about it's very, the rent is very expensive to run.
Yeah, it is.
And then you need staff and your overhead expenses, but also, in case you want to keep building your collection, that's what the money would go toward. So
absolutely. And then also to just take care of the stuff I already have too,
for sure, you have to maintain it.
Yeah.
So Michael, so William, what maybe we'll give you a little break. So I was thinking actually last time we did the tours.
Yes.
Poor William, he was doing most of the work. I was just chilling out. He was walking around. I was like, this is great. I can just relax. Okay, so we'll give William a little break. But Michael, I was going to say, so why don't you tell us a little bit about collecting and how you got into collecting, and then maybe you can sort of transition with the two, like you mentioned just shortly how the two of you met, but maybe you can sort of, how you got, let me go and let you go ahead.
Perfect. Yeah. I think like a lot of movie fans, you want something more. Like I started collecting tapes, in the mid 80s, VHS, and I would upgrade to DVD and the DVDs would get upgraded to Blu-ray. And you'd try to get every book you can about the movies that you like. So every Alien book that I could get my hands on, every Blade Runner book, and there aren't any, and you're just trying to get anything that you can from it. So it extends to toys, magazines, whatever, posters, autographs, and eventually like the mass market aspect of it, with every single thing can be turned into an action figure or a pop character or whatever, that started to lose its appeal. And I learned that you could own things from the films themselves, and that started to be like, well, that's closer and closer to the goal. I think I was misled along the way by Guillermo del Toro talking about his collecting and his house, Bleak House in LA, where it's a almost spiritual level of collecting, where like the saints in Mexico, you're collecting pieces of this thing that brings you closer to the sort of gods, right? And unfortunately, I really bought that hook, line, and sinker. And I feel that that's true. You have shrines around the house here for like Alien, where I've got all of the autographs of the actors in the film, except for the guy in the suit and the cat. I don't have the cat, but everybody else. And you can be a completist in some ways. And then, now with the collecting market, the way it's become, where suddenly everything's like several digits longer than when I started, it becomes like, all right, I'm just going to kind of bottom feed a little bit and hopefully get items that are of interest to people who visit, remind me of the films that I like, complete a corner of a collection, and are sometimes related. Like I've tended towards things that have red in them because the home theater that they reside in has a red theme. So if it's ever in doubt, I might go, well, that's not red, so I won't get it. It was a way to talk myself out of things. And stopping collecting things like Star Wars. Okay, if you can cut Star Wars free, it's a great relief. Like there's millions of things that you no longer need to buy or need to follow. It's like, okay, thank you. So for me, it's a lot of it is like striking back to those things that inspired me at the tender age of whenever. For me, coming into college about 1987, that was the time when horror movies were really big in the marketplace, and I was dead set on being the next John Carpenter, making the next Nightmare on Elm Street. So for me, those kinds of things would be the greatest kinds of things to collect. I do have one John Carpenter piece. I recently picked up one of the novels that were printed for the movie In the Mouth of Madness. So they'd have the big paperback book displays in that. And, they made dozens or hundreds of these, but it's just neat to have the thing. And that particular one is pretty cool because it's a professionally published piece of paperback. But if you flip through it, it's one single page repeated. And it has the same line of dialogue in it so that any actor could crack it open and read the part that they needed to read in the script. So it's you can tell it's authentic. There's no way to.
It's like Jack Nicholson's manuscript in The Shining, right?
Yes, and as you say that, I'm looking at my reproduction of that underneath.
Do you have a reproduction?
Yeah, well, so when they were auctioning off the real things, I found a nice high-res copy, printed it on some nice manuscript paper, and have it underneath my Shelley Duvall autograph. So. Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool. You have a
I
Shelley
did pick up the Lee Unkrich book that just came out of The Shining. If people don't know, Lee Unkrich was one of the directors at Pixar, and of all things, an art director on a lot of the films. And he became obsessed with The Shining at an early age and started a Shining blog in the early 2000s.
The Undertaker.
He is the sort of caretaker of all of that stuff.
Yeah, I think he called him. Sorry, what did he call himself? The caretaker,
which would make sense because
because I found his blog because I did a couple of Shining videos and I found his blog and I combed through it.
Yeah, so that book landed this week and it's 1,000 pages. It's by one of my favorite authors of making of books, J.W. Rinsler, who's done the best books on Star Wars and just got the Planet of the Apes one and the Alien one. So again, just consuming as much as I can of the things and I think it helps me to learn. So like visiting Williams Museum, I'm able to see this stuff in person and you see the craftsmanship on this stuff. And I think he and I agree that is an inroad for us. We just like the quality, the design, the materials, the attention to detail. And I think that now sort of in this kind of post HD world that we live in, it's become more and more important. If you compare something like the Superman costume from the 78 film versus, modern superhero films, just the number like printed fabrics, screen printed fabrics with tight patterns on them so that even in a close-up, there's something going on that's interesting with those. So it's just like a really great time to be into this stuff. There's so much out there. There's so much more availability to stuff. So it's just kind of exciting to be part of it. I started collecting a little bit more hardcore, maybe in about 2008 or 9, and was picking up stuff at auction that was cheap. I started on like comedy titles. Like I got some stuff from Employee of the Month, Dax Shepard film. We got some cheerleader costumes from Fired Up, which is a sort of teen comedy.
I love that movie when I was a teenager.
Great.
That's amazing. I know that.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's really fun.
Good guys and the bad guys.
Michael, which auction sites were you buying from at that time?
So that was really early days Premier Props.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was before they went kind of scammy a little bit.
I noticed that there's some places have just completely collapsed or others.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, they got folded in. But
Heidi, there's one time that I bought $2,000 worth of fake props from Premier Props and they fought me on it and they refused to give me my money back.
Wow.
And the costumes got here and they all said made in China and it was insane. But back in the day, Premiere Pops was Premiere. Back in
Well,
in 2008.
Mother Royne, I saw Star Wars in the theaters. Michael, I don't know how old you are, but did you see Star Wars in the theater?
I did. I saw it 5 times in the theater in its first run. But to be fair, that first run was like 2 years long.
Yeah, it was long.
Because
yes.
they just revived it and revived it and revived it because it was pre-home video. So it was the way to see it. And my parents were very kind.
Yeah, that's the only way you could see it. Exactly. And George at the time said it would never go to video. Like, I don't know if you remember that. He said it would never go to video. And boy, did that.
I don't remember seeing it on TV, but I suppose I did. That era of like sci-fi and TV really sparked my imagination. Tron for me was kind of a bigger one. And I'm like a huge Tron geek as a result. But yeah, Star Wars coming out when it did, I was already into fantasy filmmaking through, unfortunately, the De Laurentiis King Kong, but also the original King Kong, and then all the Ray Harryhausen films. So I was like pretty much ready to do movies circa 76, post Jaws. I was like, this is what I want to do. My parents bought me a book on the making of the original King Kong. And in it were the pictures of, Willis O'Brien working on the stop motion dinosaurs. And I went, this is a thing that people do. And sure enough, and I have from my first grade, what do you want to be when you grow up kind of drawing of me basically recreating one of the scenes from the original Kong. So like I knew
Michael, I have to jump in for a second because that's really funny that you say that because when I want to say 15, I saw the Peter Jackson King Kong for the first time. And for Christmas, I wanted, and I got the How They Made It kind of book. And it made me want to do maquette making. Like I wanted to start doing that. So that's so funny that like different versions of the same movie inspired us to want to do something in the film industry a little bit.
It is. And when that one came out, so I started teaching in 2000, and 2002 or 3, they started to promote Lord of the Rings. And they were doing it online. Like, here's what Peter Jackson's company was doing. And we saw in a little streaming video, we're all hovered around the computer looking at it. And then when he then did King Kong, he provided all those production diaries. And I would consume them the second they came out. And just them building New York in New Zealand the way they did. Yeah. All the costumes and man, just
the world building in that movie was just phenomenal. I mean, what they did with Skull Island, I thought was just so fascinating. The fact that he created an entire history to the island and how all the creatures got there, and I mean, there's a lot of backstory there that you just don't get on screen that is there, which is so interesting.
Oh, sorry, William. There was a few things I just want to keep the chat involved. So first off. Alicia says, Michael, I request the highest of 5s for the Tron love. Very cool. Actually, there he goes. Dean Eilerston, who is a prop master, I had him on the show. Worked on Shogun recently. He's doing the next Tron movie, so that was kind of cool. Maybe we'll get him to come on and talk. But I was a huge Tron fan. Actually, William, I think I've told you this story. When I first met my husband, I went over to his house and we went out for dinner and I asked him what his favorite movie was. And he said, I think it would have to be Blade Runner. And then we ended up getting married. But I remember him having Tron on his shelf and Logan's Run. Logan's Run was another one of my favorites. So, but the other question that came up, and I want to say hi to Tom, and also Justin popped in. So hi, Justin, if you're still here. Sorry I didn't get to say hello to you yet. Where's the question here? Oh, also Mother Royne says she was in high school when Star Wars came out. So awesome. That's so cool. I was 10 when it came out, so I wasn't quite in high school. Oh, so Casey asks, Will, what is your favorite part of the museum? Great question. That's a hard one, though, right?
That is a hard one. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard because I created everything, right? I mean, I designed the entire space. I would probably say Narnia, just because it's just so cool, and it's so cool for people to walk through the wardrobe and enter Narnia, and it's so rewarding to see that on a daily basis. Just kind of see the awe and wonder and the surprise on people's faces when they open the wardrobe for the first time.
And also, it's pretty complete too. And you've got sorry, is it the Minotaur?
The Minotaur, yeah. Are you? Yeah, I tried to get all of the creatures in
The
Narnia.
creatures, yes. That's
The
what I was trying
creatures.
to.
So I have a Minotaur, I have a Satyr, I have a Fawn, and I have two Centaurs.
Yeah.
So
I think
yeah,
that sounds like even more than what I lot. Maybe no, maybe you did have those for a while.
yeah, I've had them for a while.
Tom says, I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind having some of Ridley Scott's storyboards.
Yeah. Mentor Hubner was the storyboard artist on that. A old man of Hollywood from the 50s, and they're spectacular boards, really cool.
Hi,
I have
Mike. You
two
didn't miss
favorite.
much at all. Sorry, go ahead, Michael.
I have two favorite parts of Will's museum now.
Oh, okay, sure. What are they?
The newest one is how Spartacus is displayed now. You
Yeah,
want to talk
yeah.
about that because it's amazing.
Yeah. So sometimes I'll scour Facebook Marketplace, or I'll scour this little group called Technical Theater on a Budget on Facebook, which is a Facebook group where a bunch of
That's a fun name.
theaters, yeah, it's super fun. A bunch of
Yeah.
theaters and random people will post set pieces. Sometimes they just want to get rid of or have go to a different production, or instead of just like throwing it away after, because these high schools will build these really cool things and
Yeah.
then they'll have no
So it's
need
like a
of them
swap.
after.
Like you can swap, like even, but there's no
Exactly.
charge,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
What a great
exactly.
idea. And it's
Super
upcycling and
great.
it's not going into
Yes, and
landfill.
it's usually either free or like really cheap, because
Mhm.
theaters all kind of want to give to each other, and so I'm in that group, and so sometimes I get stuff from there. And there's one day where I logged in, and there was someone, a high school that's actually 10 minutes from here, and they just got done doing a production of Midsummer's Night Dream, and they had created this really cool Roman ruins set. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Like, there was someone that I had already commented and said that they'd take it, but I messaged the person posting, was like, oh my God, I will pay for this if I have to. I have to have this. It's so cool. And it worked out, and I got it, and I got it for free. And I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it. I wanted to elevate the Spartacus display because I love Spartacus, and I love Lucy Lawless, and it just really looks really cool now. And I can show you guys later
Sure. Because
what it looks like. But
no, Will, since I've last had you on,
yeah,
have you done, you've obviously, it sounds like you've done quite a bit of,
I have.
what's the word? A leveling up?
Yes,
What do the young
yes.
people say?
Plusing, plusing. I think
Fussing? Oh, I love that. It's so,
plusing.
fusting.
No, plusing,
Oh, plussing, like
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
Oh, see,
yeah.
I'm so old. I don't even know. Dustin says he's rewatching Spartacus right now.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. Please show us, he says. I think
Right.
he also loves Vikings. I think I told you, Justin is my editor. He
Oh,
loves
sure.
Viking, including a
Yeah.
particular, is it Lagather?
Uh,
Lagather?
Legatha. Yes.
Lagatha. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're watching Travis Fimmel right now on do you have any of his costumes?
I did. I did have one of his tunics from Vikings, but I sold it to get Celine.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a good trade-in, I think.
Sure. Of course.
Yeah. Because it wasn't like anything major. It was just like one of his tunics. So
Michael, so since you have some things like directly behind you, would you mind sort of maybe telling the folks what you have there? Because I was curious what they are.
For sure. Just on the left here, you can just barely see it, is Jack Black's straitjacket from House with the Clock on Its Walls.
Oh, well, I can't quite see it. It looks like it's slightly off camera.
He's kind of like doing this.
Oh, okay.
It's a
Sure.
one, so it's made to fall apart. It's got,
okay. Oh, yeah, like a breakaway.
It's very cool. This is one of the more recent additions, which is from Stardust. It is worn by Ricky Gervais as Fergie the Fence. And I screen matched parts of it. The jacket, I believe, is a backup or a double. But the vest I screen matched, and the hat is screen matched. So, and I don't know about the pants because his legs do not appear on screen in any of the movie.
Michael, I didn't know you got that.
Yeah,
that's so funny because
running around.
I circled that costume for a couple of years.
Well, he'd been advertising it for a couple of years, and it finally he dropped it. And I went, okay, I'm just doing it because I'm not going to afford any of the other ones. I like that film quite a bit. It's got some of my favorite actors in it. So, and I'm kind of a Ricky fan. I think he'll be one of the last comedians, kind of like people.
He won't get canceled,
but kind of like I'm not like super like cancel culture kind of a thing, but he is maybe the last person who will be the way he is. Maybe. So I appreciate it as a fan of British comedy from birth, basically. Next up is,
Tom says Tony Curtis was great in the Vikings. I think that's a different the Vikings though. Was Tony Curtis in Vikings? Or is it the Vikings?
I don't think so, because that
50s film, I think.
Or he was in Spartacus, I think, as well.
Tony Curtis. I don't know that name.
Tony Curtis, like Jamie Lee Curtis's dad. Right. You know, like
Vikings is Kirk Douglas also. I think.
Kirk Douglas. Isn't that Spartacus? I thought it was Spartacus.
Oh, yeah, Kirk Douglas was the original Spartacus in the 60s.
Yeah, so Tony Curtis is in that as well. Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Sure.
And he is Jamie Lee Curtis's dad. And he's
I did not know that.
Some Like It Hot, like, you know, where the men dress up as women in drag.
Interesting.
Sorry, Michael, go ahead. I keep derailing your conversation here.
We've got so much to cover.
Sure.
That was one of the first things I got, which is John Carter. And
very cool.
Yeah, the top bit I managed to get in one, and then the rest was like collected from other pieces, so it wasn't a one and done. And kind of
is that Zodanga armor? Is that what it's called?
It's your basic Zodangan military guy. No helmet yet. I keep passing those up. They're always just a little bit higher than I want to spend. Grabbed a Conan headdress here recently from the original '82 film.
Oh wow! Is it?
Of course, they made thousands of those for that.
Is it the one on the bottom? Like it looks like a hood?
Yeah, it's like right there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there's a blue jacket there. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to put you on solo. Here, let me put you on solo so we can actually see it. There we go.
So, yeah, the medallion there is a replica I made, and the headdress is just your basic, Temple of Set gang in the back. And I assume that final scene when there's about 1,000 extras on camera, but I got in for cheap on that one, so it wasn't too bad.
I love that headdress. That's really an interesting design.
And the design of that is by Ron Cobb, who did tons of great things like Alien, Hardware, and things like that. Yeah, big Ron fan. Above that is the most recent acquisition. That is a Judge Dredd 96 film, just one of the sort of cadet uniforms.
Sure, like one with Carl Urban.
No, the Stallone 96.
Oh, Stallone!
Right.
Ooh.
Right. So that's been
very
a plan
cool.
in Hollywood.
That's a really nice design.
I love that, and of course that's Karl Lagerfeld or somebody did the
with the fashion designer.
Right. Did that.
I'm wearing one of his shirts right now. This is a Karl Lagerfeld shirt. Yeah.
Let me show everybody. So that. Let me show what you're wearing. Yeah, very nice.
Very Carl.
Yeah. I actually have a really great book about fashion designers working in costumes. And it's actually by Christopher Laverty, the late Christopher Laverty. I don't think I have it here, but anyways, it's a really great book, and it talks about all the different fashion designers who've worked in films, such as Gautier and worked on The Fifth Element, or there was actually 2001: A Space Odyssey was a famous French designer, I believe. So anyways, a very good book. Anyway, so go ahead, Michael. I keep interrupting you.
Well, that's a perfect segue because I've got a Gautier in the corner.
Oh, no way.
I do. It's a Fifth Element background character. Yeah,
I have to see it. I love the Fifth Element. It's
I'll haul it over here later.
Well,
okay. It's really cool.
That's in my Fifth Element is in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Well, actually, maybe we should do that at some point. We'll go around and we'll ask everybody what their top 3 movies are.
Impossible.
It's so hard though, right? I already told you my daughter my favorite.
we named our daughter Mila after
Oh,
Mila
so
Jovovich.
great. Yeah.
Middle name is Lilu.
Oh, that's so great. I love it. That's so cool.
That's how big a fan
Yeah,
I guess I
Corbin
am.
Dallas. Multipass.
Kid would have been, if we had a kid as a boy, it would have been probably Corbin. Yeah.
I wish I had my own multipass. My friend Bro sent me a multipass prop that I like wearing sometimes. Yes, we should cover that movie, Alicia. Absolutely. It's such a good one.
All the costumes in that are crazy. Outstanding.
They're so good.
French,
Yeah.
very French. Yeah.
Definitely.
French pedal to the metal.
Now, what about, you've got some like pinball machines or something as well?
Oh, right. Yeah. So past Dwayne here, who is one of my characters, the character that I played in Transylvania Television. So I got him
so cool.
Got him on some legs there because I think we're done making that show. So they're in a sort of state of preservation at the moment. But yeah.
So is Dwayne a vampire?
Dwayne is a sort of a Frankenstein. He's made from 13 people.
He's got bolts. I can see.
Right. And he's kind of the station. It's a TV station in the Carpathians run by a vampire who really doesn't understand how TV works particularly well. Sort of like it's kind of like an SCTV kind of scenario in that we can do sort of sketches and posit them as TV shows.
Yeah.
But primarily it's about the behind the scenes kind of day-to-day working of the station itself. So it bears some, resemblance to things like the Larry Sanders Show in that respect, and kind of that level of comedy.
Yeah.
Now,
did you ever see Peter Jackson's, I think it's called Meet the Feebles?
Yes.
Yes. I rented that years ago. It's like a filthy Muppets.
Gory. Filthy,
filthy Muppets.
Peter's history is fantastic. His first film, I'm a really big fan of, Bad Taste, which he made very much in the same way that I made my first feature. Kind of borrowed things, built things. In his case, he's a genius, so he was doing much cooler things than I did, but very spiritually from the same DNA as me, I think.
And there's the hippo's named Heidi in Meet the Feebles, if I remember.
Yeah, I only saw it once. I own it, but I'm just trying to crank myself up to watch it again. Yeah,
great on like a hippo. So no, it was really, I just remember there's it was just really
it's disturbing. Yeah, the kind of
funny.
Vietnam vet
very funny.
And
I actually loved Bad Taste. I thought that was what was the one where there's a young man and he's in love with a girl, but I think his mother dies,
right?
And is that Bad Taste?
Brain Dead in
Brain Dead.
most of the world, and I think they call it Dead Alive in the US. Yeah,
Dead Alive. Yeah, that's it. It was that was so good. It was actually kind of a sweet little love story, but he's got this mother from hell
story and giant zombies and no holds barred. Yeah, Kung Fu Priest. Yeah, that came out at a time when I was making my first feature. So my first feature is Go to Hell. It was distributed by Troma, who did things like Toxic Avenger and things like that. And we were inspired by, like, I had read sort of cover to cover Michael Weldon's book of psychotronic film, the Encyclopedia of Psychotronic Film. And so we were inspired by things like Kung Fu movies and Italian zombie movies and Russ Meyer movies. And it's kind of a stew, and it is kind of like everything with the kitchen sink. So it's really all over the place. But at the time I was really fascinated with the JFK assassination shortly after Oliver Stone's film came out. So it's actually a story about a tabloid news reporter who gets embroiled in this assassination plot involving a Roman Catholic cardinal who sold his soul to the devil. So that's the kind of thing you do.
And you said it's going to be on, what's the network it's on?
So Troma distributed it when we finished. And that's a company out of New York that's known for low rent exploitation films. We saw not a dime from them. They had it for about 20 years. It's going to get a Blu-ray re-release next year from a company I think called Decanalog, which is run by a friend of mine. And so we're going to dust that off, take the negative out to LA and scan it, because it was actually shot on film. We when it came to that film, and we can talk about the costumes from that too, since I was kind of involved in a lot of that aspect of it too. We landed it right in the middle of kind of the end of the 90s. So we missed the sort of home video wave that it should have been a part of because it took too long to make. And then we sort of missed the streaming rise. So it just kind of landed in the gutter between those two opportunities, those two economic opportunities. So it was kind of a loss for that, but it's got a lot of views amongst the fans of that kind of trauma stuff. So we think it will kind of do okay as a boutique title next year.
Yeah, it's funny. I had Roger Christian on from Star Wars and Alien, and we were chatting, and he told me that he has a movie that's kind of he can't he can't get it re-released or what have you. I ended up finding it, but I'd have to look up what the name of it, but it's a horror movie that he did back in the 90s. And so he was telling me it's like dealing with these people. It's just like distributors, all these people, they're like just absolutely horrible. So, and he directed, he was the unit director on, I think, The Phantom Menace, and yet, he still gets treated.
Yeah.
He's got an Oscar. Doesn't really matter.
On the upside, I've never dealt with a studio.
Yeah.
I've made all my stuff independently. So we've made all of our mistakes ourselves, every stupidity, every foolhardy gesture. It was all on us. And we, only ourselves to blame. And I, as an instructor now to kids who could be doing those things, I say, when all else fails, making your own things very satisfying. You may only get a few people to see it, but those people who it touches, it will make a big difference too. There was, you would think that a stupid little indie movie, you wouldn't be recognized. But I remember a few years ago, I was checking out at a grocery store up here, and a guy came up and said, you directed that thing. And it's like very weird. So even, you never know, the little cult followings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anywhere. So,
but so Jackie just joined. Hi, Jackie. She said that's quite the game room. So she's noticing your games.
Right. Yes, these are just the knockoff Chinese made from Arcade 1-Up. But as a Tron fan, it started with, I need to own the Tron replica cabinet. And I was going to stop there, but he was lonely and he needed a couple of friends. And the Tron game is not fun.
I'm seeing now you can get like a Raspberry Pi and then put it into a box or something like that. I don't know. Have you seen those?
Yes, and that's probably the next one, because some of my favorite games as a youth are not available through Arcade 1-Up. So if I'm going to fill in those blanks of things like Frogger and Donkey Kong, I have to make my own machine for that. Yeah, but I've got friends to do that. Yeah, colleagues, computer graphics people.
Now behind the jacket, you've got a poster. What's that poster?
Right.
I know.
You've hit my.
I know you've got the Lost Boys.
Yeah, this is the Lost Boys corner. So that's actually a Japanese B2 size poster. I might have to move it and show you. It's fucking fantastic.
We actually, go ahead. Sorry.
One of the Corys, the lead character, and it's front and center. It's all about the Cory, and the boys, the vampire boys, are hanging upside down at the top. It's a terrifying poster. Excellent. Got a couple of autographs from those folks. That little 12x18 there is signed by Kiefer and Robert.
Nice. Well, I know I was going to say that we did with Propstar, we did with Ro and I, we did an interview with a poster expert, and he was talking about how the foreign posters are actually, they can be very highly collectible, especially, Japanese or something like that. I'm sure people who collect Star Wars, that type of thing.
Yeah. This format, this B2 is about 22 by 28. So I can get a few more of them in the space, which is really valuable. Sure. And the artwork is different. I've got my Tron B2 over here, and it's just, they're different layouts. The typography is really exciting and bold, and you don't know what it says. So it's kind of more interesting, more intriguing. And I'm just so used to seeing the US one as the cover of the tape, or it was in the newspaper ads. So this has an air of, again, completism, but also the mystique of just new stuff.
Yeah. Tom, who mentioned earlier that he collects posters, He said sometimes Japanese posters are totally different. Yeah, I love that they kind of do their own thing.
Right.
William, are you feeling left out? We can bring you back in.
No, I'm fine.
He's had a long day. He's exhausted.
Yeah, yeah.
This
Go
is so
for it.
fun. I'm having such a great time. Anyway, so if you're just joining us, we are here for a little while at sort of like near the holidays. So we thought it would be a great time to get together. William has his lovely museum in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I think it's at Maplewood Mall. And I've actually added a link to his Patreon at the top of the chat. If anyone wants to support him, it goes towards running the museum, his staff, new acquisitions, all of his overhead. It's very expensive to run it. William, how long has it been since you have had the museum? Like, when did you open it?
Gosh, it's been 6 months already, Heidi. I opened in June.
Crazy. Yeah, so we did like a 2-part tour. I think it was probably in the summer then.
It was, I think it was June or July. Yeah.
And now, how many pieces do you think you have in the collection at the moment?
I definitely have about 200 costumes on display now. And that's, I think, as far as props, I think I probably have 30 or 40 on display, roughly. So, yeah, it's quite expensive.
Now, when people come in, and Michael, maybe you can speak to this as well. When you go in, what's the one thing people are like, oh my God, this is so cool? Or are there several things that people drop their jaw at?
Every time that someone leaves, I always ask them, like, what was their favorite thing? Majority of them say Narnia. I think, that's such a beloved film, and it's such a cool experience for people to, kind of walk into a forest in the middle of a mall. Surprisingly, I have a Enchanted collection. A lot of people love that. Goodness, Vikings. My Viking section has been a big hit.
And also,
I don't know.
because you've done such a nice job, like, I don't know if this is be the correct term, because maybe this is a museum term, but like curating it, displaying, like doing the displays and everything. You've worked really, really hard. You obviously went to some type of wooded area and cut down a bunch of trees.
I did.
And then put some fake snow on them and to create. Well, no, seriously, where did you get all the trees? Did I ask you the last time?
I don't remember. Well,
so
last year I did not go to the forest, sadly. I went to the forest online. The Walmart forest. Last year after Christmas there was sales on some trees, and I was like pretty sure that this was going to happen this year, so I kind of followed my intuition and decided to just like shell out like $1,500, and I bought 27 Christmas trees because I was like, if it's gonna happen, I want to make sure that I have the trees, to do this. So I kind of just took that leap, and I stored them in my roommate's room. But up until we opened.
By the way, Casey says that her favorite room. I'm not sure if Casey's a girl or they or her. Said my favorite is the jungle room.
Jungle room's pretty cool.
Michael, what about you? When you first? I mean, So why don't you tell us a little bit how you got to know William and that whole thing?
Sure.
Yeah, Michael's kind of seen many different iterations of this. So
Michael found you online, started stalking you.
I will say that Narnia was like one of the first things out of William's mouth. Was like, we are doing this forest. And I was like, that is it was almost a deal breaker for me because it was so insane, kind of. And the spaces that we looked at initially were like, there's no way that this is going to happen. No way this is going to. So when it turned into this 15,000 square foot space, which is just a big room with a few pillars and like no plugs, there's not an outlet in sight. I'm like, how the hell are we going to do this? And through sheer will, curtains from everywhere, again, theater places getting rid of things, fabric dividers, and I think we settled on like a really excellent kind of floor plan. The path you take is interesting. Every corner, there's kind of a change of genre. There's some logic to it and there's surprises to it. So it's really kind of great. I would love to have just experienced it as an outsider. I don't have that luxury. I kind of, was there moving mannequins. There's more mannequins than there's
You get a Jedi to, erase your memory.
erase memory. Yes.
Yeah. Or like
Michael drove the U-Haul here and helped unload stuff. Yeah.
Amazing.
That's some commitment.
Yeah.
Now, Michael, have you have you sort of acquired some things that you're then, okay, William, maybe I'll let you have this for your museum or vice versa? Like, has there been any exchanges between the two of you? Have you had any
maybe
deals, handshake deals, anything like that?
Maybe I do have kind of a theme right now of like background sci-fi guys a little bit, which Will doesn't have a ton of. So that would be an interesting place. I don't have near the number of fantasy things. And I'm not a big, like you, William, I'm really focused more on wardrobe than on props. Like props don't particularly interest me. Plus they tend to, it feels like they go for a little bit more, maybe because they've got sort of plot significance. But, if it were up to me, I would collect horror stuff, but those films are always so small. The casts are small. They only make a few things of something. So it's very hard to kind of fight in that arena. So what I've sort of landed in is these kind of things like John Carter, where, okay, there's probably 50 of those or 70 of those.
Yeah.
And I like it because of the craftsmanship. I like the film. It's intriguing looking. It creates conversation when people come into the room. So for me, getting in at that level, fascinating piece, cool. Is it a hero piece? Hardly. So that's kept my kind of budget on the stuff down. But sometimes the community, weird little semi A-list things will pop up. So my Starship Troopers jacket, of which there's again 1,000 of those probably, had in the back of it written Little Trooper.
Hi, Scarif.
And Little Trooper is the little kid who comes around the propaganda film and says, "I'm doing my part." And now that's become like a big meme where people put that, I'm doing my part GIF up as a, buzz on anybody who's like not doing anything or like failing to accomplish anything. So it's weird to have, that's kind of like a B-list, A-list piece. Is just kind of funny to me.
I was just going to tell you a quick little. First I want to say hi to Ro, who's my friend. He's in the chat. He says I always have the coolest guests, which is the sweetest thing. And Ro, hopefully him and I have been doing he is a collector as well, but we've been doing these interviews with Prop Store, where we're doing different collections. Sometimes they have vintage pieces, like I was mentioning. Tomorrow we're doing the Wolf of Wall Street, so that's a contemporary one. But sometimes they have these massive, I guess, ensembles. I don't know, William, what you would call them when they just have a collection from different things that if maybe they've amassed, and then they just say, "Here, we're going to put this all up for auction." So sometimes things from Blade Runner come up, some of Batman or superhero movies, that type of thing.
Like they're big gallery auctions.
They're gallery auctions. Yeah, I'm not an expert at all, but I'm noticing. We were talking about some famous people or collectors. Like for instance, I've been noticing. Adam Savage is a big, he's been doing, bringing awareness to the collecting community quite a bit. But even Ryan Condal from like House of the Dragon is a big collector.
Yeah, he's got his own YouTube channel.
He does.
You guys should do like you guys should get together. That'd be a fun stream.
Do you guys know Pinion? So Pinion says William is the guy who got me hooked on prop collecting. First of all, that's a fun name. Pinion. 3270 says, I love Underworld section, but I'm a little biased.
Yeah.
So he likes they like the Underworld section at your museum.
Pinion, what's your real name? Comment.
So you probably know them, but they're using.
I must, yeah.
My single favorite piece at the museum is the Bill Nye coat, the red leather,
which you didn't have on display.
I didn't have. I was paying it off. Yeah.
So you have it now.
I do. I'll show it to you
Oh,
whenever you want.
nice.
Pretty neat.
No,
Yeah.
that's a stunning. Now, it's not complete though. Was it? If I recall,
It was just the coat.
the
Yeah.
coat. Yes.
Yeah. I didn't get
And
like the skirt piece or anything.
and he is so the Bill Nye character. He's sort of like the
Super
head
vampire.
honcho vampire, if I recall.
Yeah, yeah. He's like
That
the
he gets woken
vampire
up and he's
leader.
really pissed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you
And
have
he's
part of
like,
or Celine, I think, as well.
I do. Yep, yep, yep. I have her coat and cat suit.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
pretty cool. Yeah.
That's a cool one.
Yeah.
Meme says series of unfortunate events section is pretty fire, Ryan.
Mhm.
Yep.
Oh,
For
Ryan. I love
sure.
Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, we had I think I tagged the costume designer on Instagram, William, didn't you say?
Yeah, Cynthia. Yeah,
Cynthia
she followed me on
Summers.
Instagram. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I think she
Yeah.
messaged me too, I think. Yeah.
Because then she went on to do The Last of Us. She like series
Yeah.
1. And then she's
Yeah.
not coming back for season 2 for some reason. So maybe she's going on to do something fabulous. So I was saying I thought that was really nice that you had so much of the collection together that they didn't. It's kind of like children, right? They get broken up and sent off to the step parents and the half families and everything, whereas you managed to keep everything together, which is really nice.
I try. Yeah, I mean, I'm a sentimental man. What can I say? So I try and keep characters together as much as I can, which is weird. I know we've talked about that a little bit with Anne. It was really important for me to keep Matthew, Merle, and Anne together. Like that just was a must do for me.
Of course.
So it's hard though. I mean, because like things are so expensive. So I mean, you kind of have to pick your battles. And
now, you had Thing 1 or Thing 2? Which one did you have from the Cat?
I have Thing 1. Everyone always asks me every day. There's always someone who asks, "Where's Thing 2?"
Yeah.
But,
have you thought of just maybe getting a reproduction for now until
I could maybe, yeah.
It's money.
You know what you should do, Will, is just put a mirror behind it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could do that, yeah.
Great idea.
I don't know what happened to Thing 2. I mean, there's none out there. I mean, I've looked and I've looked and I've looked. But my guess is either he's in Universal's archive or maybe they just incinerated Thing 2 for some reason. I don't know. Maybe he was too naughty. He was on the naughty list.
I have to tell you before we move on. I just want to tell you guys this quick story. I haven't told anybody this. So I did a movie recently called Angel Heart, which is Robert De Niro, and I did a review of it. And so one of the things that I came across is that Robert De Niro, all of his costumes, like anything that he's ever worn in a film, is at the Harry Ransom Center. And so I encountered the same thing with Stanley Kubrick. Like there's a Stanley Kubrick Foundation. Michael, I'm sure you're familiar. So everything that they've ever pretty much, I don't think it went to auction. Some of the David O. Selznick, like there's some big directors that the stuff never went to auction. It just, they held on to it. I think Guillermo del Toro might be the same.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering if that's what's happening with this this auction for The Wolf on Wall Street, because this is like almost a 15-year-old movie now, so it's very bizarre that it's going to.
That's something I want to definitely ask them how that happened. But so what I was going to tell you is, so Robert De Niro bequeathed everything to the Ransom Center. But they don't have anything digitized. So I messaged them like saying, "Hey, what's going on? You don't have anything digitized, no pictures." And they said, "Well, if you want to see anything, you can let us know what you want. You have to go through like an application." So I did it just to see what it was like. They're very nice. And so they sent me some pictures from the archive of Robert De Niro's costumes. But the only thing is I'm not allowed to show them. So it's for research purposes. Like you can look at them and it's very fascinating, but they're in like boxes with, tissue and that type of thing, like archival tissue. She said, if I wanted them put on mannequins, I think they would have to go through another process. Like you can also go down there and make an appointment and then they could, but it's very like, it's It's like
Oh,
historical, almost like.
yeah.
So the whole thing was very, very strange, but at the same time, it was kind of really fun because the pictures came in yesterday,
Mm.
and I was like, this is really cool. So the one thing that I really was excited about, I don't know if Justin's still here, is Robert De Niro wore a comb in his hair. If anybody hasn't seen the movie, it's a
Angel
horror
Heart.
movie with Mickey Rourke.
So awesome.
Yeah, and Robert De Niro, I won't give it away. So Robert De Niro wears his hair in a bun, and he had just come off the mission. So his hair was long at the time, and they were trying to figure out what to do with it. So they put it in like kind of a bun, and they put like a pin in his hair, but you can't really see it. So I'd asked, and if Tom's still here, he knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. So I could see in the archive it said that he had some kind of hair comb. So I got a picture of it. And it was very cool because it was a 2-pronged hair comb, and that it had like, it was basically like a python with fangs eating another snake.
Oh, wow.
So that was cool. Like it was like coiled and then down like that. And so then he just put that in his hair, and at the end of the movie, he lets his hair down. But the other thing that was very cool is he has a pentagram ring, which was made out of resin. And in the film, you can see it because he's peeling the egg, and you can kind of see it. And then he's like, he's rolling the egg, and you can see it on his finger. But it's made of resin, and it's got a pentagram on it. And so she sent me the picture, and it was really crazy because it's actually like started to kind of disintegrate, like fall apart, even though they've kept it in archival tissue. So that was cool. And the other thing that I loved is they sent me a picture of his suit, but the tie that he wore, I was like definitely screen matched. So it was kind of a cool experience, even though I'm not allowed to share it, just to know that, hey, I got to look at these pictures that Robert De Niro wore in a movie that I love from years ago. It was just kind of a neat experience. Ultimately, would be so cool is to be able to go down there though and have them pull out some of Robert De Niro's costumes.
Yeah, I know that Glenn Close has she donated all of her costumes, I think, to a college somewhere. And they're all on display in like this like university, which is really interesting.
Yeah,
and
well, I think that's what the Ransom Center is. I think it's sort of like an educational facility, and then they also have several collections. So they.
I wonder if it's the same place.
It might be.
That makes
regarding
sense,
his nails, this is something that I came across when I was doing. So Robert De Niro. I kind of love him for this. He went off and he found himself an esthetician, and he had her do his nails for him. And then he just sort of showed up on set, and the director was like, Alan Parker. He was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, what do you think of my nails? I decided to get my nails done." And then as the movie goes on and it becomes like his character becomes a little more sinister, the nails get longer. So he has them just slightly longer each time, each scene he's in, just a little bit of nonverbal storytelling. And I love that. And that was actually Robert De Niro who came up with that idea.
Heidi, have you ever read anything about De Niro's appearance in Terry Gilliam's film Brazil?
No, but I love Brazil. Yeah. I love it. No, you'll have to tell me.
Well, I've been going down a Terry Gilliam rabbit hole this year, reading everything that I could about it. But he's apparently a very unconfident actor, or at least he was in the 80s, where coming to this film, he was he wasn't up to what you would think of that pro level that you expect. Robert De Niro is, one take wonder. He would make very simple setups really complicated out of a lack of confidence. So I was reading that was interesting, and it kind of humanized him for me in a way. And of course, that's really close to Angel Heart, maybe a 2 years difference.
Yeah, and Alan Parker, they did not get on well. He was very difficult. And I heard this story, I've heard this story from another famous person who said, I think they went to Robert De Niro's apartment, and basically like he slammed the door in his face. And Alan Parker said that Robert De Niro hung up on him when he first had his call with him before he hired him. So he's a bit of a nut bar. Yeah. I can say that because I'm not famous. So I will just say that, yeah, he's a little bit of an odd duck. But I do kind of like, I did kind of like how he worked with the costume department, because the costume designer on that went on to do all of his movies, and they built this really special relationship. And so, but yeah, I think he needed a lot of hand holding and reassurances.
There's I feel like there's two kinds of actors. There's the ones who really use these tools of getting into character and method and coming up with backstories and intricate things with their props and costumes. And then there's the people who go, we're just pretending, learn your lines, come do the thing. And De Niro's obviously one of those first ones. And yeah, he was apparently very, very involved in the selection of costumes on Brazil too, bringing his own things and suggestions and things like that. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he's an actor's actor and maybe not a director's actor particularly.
Exactly. And I think that's what it was with Alan. He was, he was with the crew, he was hanging with them. And I think George Lucas had the same issue, right? He's not an actor's director, he's a technical director. So yeah. I love those stories though. I always think it's sort of, I mean, the story is about the nails and his hair and just how he controlled the wardrobe. I kind of was like all over that. I thought that was kind of cool in a way, because a lot of actors don't care. They're just like, I don't really pay attention to my outfit. They're not as much into it. But so when I do hear an actor is really into their outfit, and apparently I was just watching a show today about who's the Hugh Grant. Like apparently he just goes through every little detail. Like apparently I haven't seen the new movie, but he does an impression of Jar Jar Binks, and he hadn't seen Phantom Menace, so he actually went out and watched it just so he could get the gist of what the impression would have to be. And the writers, the directors, the team, they just thought that was awesome. They loved that because they put all this nerdy stuff in there, and then he was like, okay, I'm gonna have to go do some research on this.
I want to try a Hugh Grant doing a Jar Jar Binks impersonation. I can hear it in my head.
Yeah,
the halting, like
he's so funny. He's so funny. I just saw him. Somebody said to him in an interview, like, he keeps getting stopped on red carpets, and they said, so you just finished this movie, the horror movie that he just did. So you have to remind me what it's called. And Heretic. Now, because you're playing such a dark character, did you bring that home with you? And was that a difficult thing? And Hugh Grant, I swear, not with even a pause, says, well, actually today I murdered 3 people. So there's that. Right. And no, I just love him. He's so funny. Like he's definitely he's kind of a grumpy guy. Like I know I've seen him in junkets and he's not super happy to be there, but I really appreciate his talent. So we'll give him that. By the way, so Corey has a great question, because I'm just rambling on about stuff here. Mm-hmm. Corey asks, what's each collector on the panel's holy grail? That's a great one.
Ooh,
who wants to go
question,
first?
Corey? I mean, how do you choose? There's so many. Yeah. I don't know.
They're your darlings. They're your babies.
Yeah. I mean, Holy Grail as far as that I have already, or Holy Grail that I don't have already? Well, I've gotten a couple of them,
maybe they mean what you don't have.
Sure.
Corey, I would love to elaborate.
I would love to get the White Witch's dress from Narnia.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
Oh, that you don't have. Yeah.
I have her wand and her crown, so that's not too bad. But I would love to get her dress. And I know 2 people that have 2 versions of the dress. I don't think they'd ever part with it, but if they ever do, I'm probably gonna go after those as hard as I can.
How many? Do you know how many dresses there were?
I don't. I know Disney definitely has one. I mean, because it's white, I mean, you'd think that they would have at least 7, probably. And I mean, she switches, as the film goes on. So I'm sure that there's probably at least 10 out there. Yeah, I'd also really love to get Maleficent's dress, like from the movie. Like I have a couple different ones, but I would love to get her like iconic big black dress. from the first movie someday.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jackie says, "Wow, you have the wand and crown. I would love to see those. Maybe you'll do a little walkthrough for us."
I could do a little walkthrough. Just
Yeah.
tell me when.
Okay. Well, why don't we get Michael? Michael, do you want to answer this question about the Holy Grail first?
Yeah, I started writing them down because it
Oh,
was
he's
like,
got several.
where to begin? Like, I don't go after A stuff. Like the idea of like a Captain America shield has no appeal to me.
Oh, yeah, of course not.
But the guy who sold me this today listed Blade Runner 2049 cop armor, and I started sweating. It was like, oh my god! But
That's Mason's favorite movie.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Right. Good. It's a good one. I think a Running Man jumpsuit would be up there. Just that.
And
that
they're redoing it.
Yellow one. Yes, Edgar
they're
Wright.
redoing
I'm waiting down for that. I've
the
read
Running Man, definitely.
Read the novel. I made the mistake of reading it on an airplane. Which,
oh yeah,
if you know how it
good.
ends, it's like that's probably not a good choice. But it could be great. We'll see. Yeah.
Well, and the book ends differently than the movie.
A little bit, yeah. A lot of different things about it. A lot of tonal things. Obviously, I was an Arnold fan in high school, so Terminator, the first one, is one of my favorite films. So any like background item from that, but Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So
we've been watching a lot of these movies lately with the kids because I have a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old. So we watched. That's one of my husband's favorite, but we also watched the original, like RoboCop, and we watched the original. What's one you just mentioned before that? Sorry.
Blade Runner?
Not Blade Runner. Sorry, it'll come to me.
Terminator.
What's that? Terminator. Yes, the original Terminator.
I just think that first one is a great.
It's amazing. It's so good. And Richard Dawson, though, in The Running Man, right? Like, if anybody watched
Family Feud.
Family Feud, exactly.
Who do you love and who loves you?
Yeah, so good. The other question we had is, Cheyenne is asking, actually, have you thought about Never-Ending Story? Have you seen any of that come up for auction? David Bowie?
I've not seen a single thing.
Never-Ending Story. I'm thinking Labyrinth, sorry.
I've seen a couple Labyrinth pieces, but nothing from Never-Ending Story. I mean, I think everything is either destroyed or in private collections or with the studio that made it.
That was shot in Germany, wasn't it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So and I think that like the original Falcorn puppet like disintegrated.
They do.
Like I'm pretty sure I've seen that around.
Tom asks, what would you save if there was a fire, God forbid? Like,
what would be the first thing
you would grab? Yeah, what would be the first thing you would grab? Or what would you grab?
I don't know, Heidi. Gosh. Like right off the top of my head, I would probably say the Narnia kids. Gotta save the Pevensies, maybe, and Anne. I think those would be my
sort of a financial answer to those, which is that investment in on several of them higher.
Yeah.
Pena says one of the Grail items that I have is Arnold's stunt long slide pistol from the first Terminator movie. Did we find out who Pinion is? Narnia kids are a good choice. William, I feel like you must know them.
Pinion must be in the Twin
Cities,
at least.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Pinion. Is that a last name? I don't know. Pinion.
I think it's like Opinion, but without the O.
Yeah, that's Pinion. Say your name so we can.
He says, I'm Josh.
Josh. Oh, Josh Pinion. Yes, Josh. Yeah, Josh. Josh is a good friend of mine. I got him into collecting. I used to. I mean, back when I first started collecting, I would bid on stuff for him because he was super new and he wanted stuff, and that's kind of how we became friends. He's actually the person who helped me get the Victor costume. Because I was a little over my head financially, and he put up the money for it and helped me get it. So
Corey says, "Will knows me. Laugh out loud. Hey, boo."
Wait, what'd you say? Who's that?
Corey Bloomberg.
Corey, oh yeah.
Says, "Will knows me. Laugh out loud. Hey, boo."
Corey. Corey helped build the build the wardrobe. Yeah,
Oh,
and put up the projection for me for the little background that I have. So yeah, shout
um,
out.
Cheyenne says there's actually someone trying to sell an original screen use Falcor. I saw it not too long ago.
Hmm.
What's Falcor? I don't know what that is.
That's like the luck dragon
Oh, okay.
from
Um,
Neverending Story. If they're selling that, it's fake.
There's some mystery about that. Like there's
oh,
a
okay.
kind
Yeah,
of a meme thing going around that it's in a garage
the
somewhere.
garage. I've seen that. Yeah, yeah,
hmm
but
Um,
fake.
so William, do you want to do a little tour then?
I
We're about
could.
like
Yeah,
we're about at
yeah.
1.5 hours in, so we could
Do you want
maybe
to
do that.
do that first, or do you want to talk about a little place called Westeros first?
It's up to you.
Let's do Thrones, because once
Okay,
I move
sure.
my phone, it'll be hard to get this perfect.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so the last time I spoke with you, Heidi, we did a Game of Thrones stream where we
We
talked
did.
about all the amazing costume design from the Game of Thrones show.
Yeah. Now, Michael, are you a
And
fan of Game of Thrones?
So I'm a film guy, right? But I will watch the pilot of anything. And I have this sort of miraculous skill. My wife doesn't have it, to be able to watch one thing and not care about what happens after it. She's always like, the next episode, give me the next episode. So I've seen the pilot, and that's where I stopped. There are a few HBO shows where I went all the way, but I have not done that. And I'm not proud of that, but
There's nothing not to be. Well, you know what? I kind of think my sister didn't watch it past, I think, the pilot either. There's a couple of shows like, I have started and I'm like, this is just not for me. And I stopped watching it.
I don't think there's ever
did you,
been a
Heidi?
show.
I didn't know that.
There's
There's a
never been a
few.
show that got so much better that you needed to stick around to get to it. Like we watched True Blood from day one to the end. And
Oh, yeah.
first 3 seasons or so, excellent. Then we kept waiting for it to get good again, and it never kind of did. So I feel like I've learned my lesson. The little short run things that they do, like True Detective, bam, I'm in on that kind of thing. But if you're going to just keep going until you do it wrong,
Game of Thrones. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say that I watched Game of Thrones from the very first pilot all the way to the end, and it was terrible. The ending, it was really, 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 really bad. I mean, that was 10 years of my life that I gave to that show. And but I mean, to think about it now, I mean, 5 years on from the ending, I think I would have, still would have preferred to have watched the entire thing and still gone through the mourning process that I had to go through with that last season than to not have watched it at all, because the zeitgeist around it is like nothing we've ever seen before. At least, I mean, not really since, I want to say, maybe Lost. But even, I mean, it even kind of transcended the zeitgeist of Lost. I want to say. I mean, everybody would get together in their own little pods and have, Game of Thrones nights, and it was like it became this like huge like part of people's lives for a long time. And I don't know if we'll ever see that again, to be honest with you, especially the way TV is now. But I don't know. I mean, I think for me, I mean, it was such pure fantasy, and it was just it was very violent. I'll give it that. And but for a long time there, it was, if not one of the like smartest things I had ever seen to TV. It was so realistic, and it was very cutthroat and very real. But still had a layer of fantasy to it, which I thought was very interesting. And I think something that I had never really seen before, especially on TV, is that it took time to travel places, which was realistic. I mean, there's, characters that would take 2 seasons to get from point A to point B. And that was just kind of fascinating to me because it wasn't necessarily about the destination, it was about the journey to the destination. Because so many things would happen on the road. I mean, I could do a whole hour and a half video about Game of Thrones, so I'll just stop talking about it right there, I think, because I'll
Yeah.
keep going on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, honestly, for me, if it wasn't for Game of Thrones, I don't know that I would have this channel because last night I
Yeah.
had P Peppers on, and he's a great content creator.
Mm.
Alicia was here for that, and one of the things he mentioned to me was how he got started doing YouTube is he would watch a show. He got started with Severance, I believe, and he'd be like, I have to talk about this. Like, how do I do that? So he decided
Yeah.
to start making videos. So it was
Yeah.
sort of like that with me for Game of Thrones. I saw Cersei's costumes and I'm like, I have to
Yeah.
talk about this. How do I do that?
Yeah.
And I swear to God, I put together this probably really terrible video. It's still up. My very first video.
I've watched it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, it's probably like a PowerPoint presentation, but, I was just like, I need to do this. I need to talk about this and hopefully
Yeah.
other people. And then sure enough, what happened was other people were like, I want to talk about it too. So it was
Yeah.
great. And then,
Yeah.
I think I've done like 50 Game of Thrones videos now, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah. And so I kind of am very grateful for that. And I'm grateful to
Yeah.
Michelle Clapton for her
Yeah.
amazing work on it. So what
Yeah.
do you want to tell everyone, William?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we did the auction. We were
we
through the
did.
auction.
Did
That
you
was
watch
fun.
the auction at all, Heidi? Did you tune in for that?
I did, and you messaged me. I didn't, because I think I probably would have been like stressed out or something.
It was so stressful.
It
To
must
this
have
day,
been.
I mean, in my time collecting, I've never seen an auction like that. It was insane. The bidding was just crazy. I mean, they made, I think, what was it, Michael? I think they did $30,000 or something. There was that replica Iron Throne sold for $1.5 million. And it wasn't even the one that was used on the show. They had those prototype dragon eggs, Heidi. They sold for, I think, $90,000.
Oh my God.
They weren't even in the show. So that just gives you an example of how expensive some of like the screen use stuff went for.
Well,
Michael,
I know,
did you watch it at all?
No, I can't stand those feeding frenzies. I see stuff like a prop store listing and I go, I'll look at the catalog and run in the other direction.
Yeah.
It's not for me.
No, I was going to say that I know Ryan Condal's like partner, the guy he does his podcast with. He got the
Did he get his head? Oh, did he really?
I think he did.
That thing went for a lot of money.
Well,
so
I think he's
good
a millionaire
for him.
because he was showrunner, I think, on two big shows.
Oh, was he?
So
okay, I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure.
I know that he wanted like a hog's head with like an arrow in its eye or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he wanted to put that behind him. I hope he got it.
That's kind of fun, though. I don't even know what that was from. So Jackie's asking the burning question: did you get anything from the auction?
Maybe I did. So I got 4 costumes, Heidi. I got 4 of them, and I'm doing a payment plan on them because they came out to a lot of money. Yeah. Which I won't disclose, but it will officially be the most expensive thing that I've ever bought in my entire life.
That's the run back in because it's on fire dress.
Yeah. So I got Hodor's costume from.
That's so great. I love that.
Yeah. It's just a stack, but I got it for cheap considering what some of the other costumes were going for. And it comes with his little shoes, which is really cool.
So cute.
But Christian Nairn is like 6'8". So I have no idea how I'm going to put that on a mannequin. I don't know what I'm going to do with that because I think it's huge. And then I got Brienne of Tarth. I got her Bear. I got her Bear in the Maiden Fair dress, the one that she fights the bear in that
I love that
pit.
because that's the only dress she ever wears, right?
Ever wears, yeah, and it's such an iconic scene.
It is.
They
put her in that too. Like it's not like she.
They did, yeah, exactly.
It's
so if you
trimmed with fur, I think.
Yeah, so if you've seen the show, you'll recognize that because it's just such a. It's a striking image.
Tall. She's very tall.
She's 6'3", I think, or something. Yeah. so both of those two costumes, like they're pretty basic outfits, but they're very iconic. It was so hard to choose what to get because I was trying to save as much as I could for Miss Daenerys.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yes.
and all of her costumes went for like $70,000 and up.
Mhm.
But the third costume I got was Melisandre. I got her iconic robe, which I'm
So
very
great.
excited about because I really liked her character. Weirdly, there was just something about the portrayal of her that I just really vibed with. She was just so mysterious and sexy and she just slayed really well.
You got her cloak, right? The red cloak, the
I
red
did get
woven
her
cloak,
cloak. I
and then the
did.
cowl.
Yeah.
And actually, because it's funny,
Yeah.
did you? Because in House of the Dragon, one of the things, William, you've watched that, right? House of the,
No.
oh, you haven't. Okay, there's an
Oh,
outfit
no.
that
I
Rhaenyra, the Targaryen, wears that I was like,
Sure.
I'm positive is like a callback to
Melisandre.
Melisandre. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
Yeah,
the
it was
fourth and
stunning.
final costume that I got, which I'm very excited about, but it pushed the overall purchase price with all the fees way overboard. But I did get a Daenerys Targaryen, which I'm over the moon about. I got her white dress that she wears in Marine. Um, it's very plain, but like I said, all of our other stuff went for buckets full of money. So I'm really happy that I was able to get that costume, and it's the dress that she wears when she rides Drogon for the first time in season 5, during the Sons of the Harpy attack, if you remember that, Heidi.
Yeah,
Um,
it's the one that's all distressed.
yes, yeah, it's got blood
And
on
then
it.
the riders are all come, they surround her, and then she drops her ring.
Yeah,
Is that it's a
yeah.
pretty iconic scene though.
It's pretty iconic.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I mean, when I was looking at the Daenerys dress, I think I told you this when we talked on the live stream, but that was kind of the one that I was gonna go for anyway. There was like one blue dress that I kind of wanted, but for me, I mean, I think, when I think back of rewatching or of watching that show for the first time, that scene was the first scene that I saw on the show where I just like lost my mojo. Like I just like went crazy. Like I literally was screaming at the TV. It was the most like insane euphoric moment I've ever had watching TV. Just like seeing her get on that dragon for the first time and taking
Mhm.
off
Oh, it was
was just
amazing.
it was amazing because like
Mhm.
we don't see that often in cinema. I mean, other than like honestly, like the Aragon movie from 2006. I mean, when's the last time we saw someone ride a dragon on screen? Like it doesn't happen often. And so, and for me, like I would read dragon books all the time. I read Aragon and I read
Mhm.
all kinds of other dragon themed
That's
books
why you have to watch
and
House of the Dragon, because there's lots of dragon riding. You would love
well,
it.
well, I mean, I gave House of the Dragon 3 episodes, and
Oh, okay.
uh, have I talked to you about
I
this?
don't think there's any
Uh,
dragon riding that much.
well,
Yeah.
I have a rule when I watch TV or movies now, because it happens a lot and it's really frustrating. But whenever writers decide to introduce a gay character and then kill them for no reason,
Mm,
I
yeah.
decide not to support that project anymore because it's a trope that really needs to die because
Yeah.
it's just
No,
so
absolutely.
it's not okay. I mean, we're in 2024, almost 2025, and that's still something that happens more often than not. um and it's just really frustrating because I'm a gay man,
Yeah.
and we're not just meant to be fodder to be killed off.
Mhm.
And if we're not that, we're evil. Or
I'm
the
trying
most
to think
that's really
who
the
the character was that was killed.
so in the third episode, they introduce one of the Targaryen brothers or something. He's one of the darker skinned Targaryens, and
Yeah.
the first shot that you see him in, he's rolling in the sand with another guy, which I was like, oh, this is great. I love this. How long until he's dead? by the end of the episode,
Oh, I know what
they
you're talking
kill one
about.
of them off. He gets his like
Yeah.
face like crushed
Oh
in
yeah. And that was
for no reason,
that was
and it was so
yeah, that was
gratuitous,
Solly. Yeah. Actually,
and it was really sad and disgusting. And I was like, I can't do this
Long
anymore.
Mouth. Yes, I totally
Uh,
forgot. Yeah. The
and then
actor.
they wrote the other one off of the show. So
Mhm.
yay, that's gay men in TV for you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Well, there were some things in there that yeah, that I think a lot of the audience had some
Yeah.
issues with.
Well, and I think, the original show too, I mean, they really didn't do well with their gay characters either. A lot of them died, and, I think all of them died actually.
I think they
So,
did.
yeah.
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 Yeah, I know what you're saying. I can totally understand that. It's really too bad because in
It
season
is.
2
Yeah.
there are some gay characters that are very
Yeah.
solid. So it's just a
Yeah.
shame. Yeah, Yara.
But it's all women. It's mostly women. Women
Yeah.
are in media, more palatable to be gay
Yeah.
than gay men, and gay men are always killed off or they're evil. So,
It's really funny because, so Ann Dixon did the costumes for Anne with an E,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
I interviewed her for the
Yeah.
Dead Don't Hurt, and the actor who played Joffrey Longmouth, the one you were referring to, gets
Yeah.
plummeted.
Yeah.
She worked with him, and she said he was a total doll, like that actor.
Yeah.
So I was really
Yeah.
he was amazing in the movie that she
Yeah.
did. So
I mean, I gotta say, the way that they handled Cole's character and Anne with Me was really
yeah,
beautiful. Like,
I think so.
at the end of season 2, I was really nervous they were gonna write him off of the show, or but they kept bringing him back, and I thought that was really sweet because that's something that you don't see happen often. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, do you know when you're going to be getting those costumes? Like you said, you have a payment plan, I guess.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I am trying to put everything I possibly can on that order because I would like to get them sooner rather than later. But whenever I'm about to put another payment on that, something else pops up and I get distracted, or, I have to pay Michael for more signs, or,
yeah.
So right now they're scheduled to be here in April.
Oh, amazing! So when you get them, we'll have to have you back, and we'll do. You can, because I know you'll need a bit of time to figure out how you're going to display them, and maybe you'll do a launch or something.
I think that'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, Daenerys Targaryen comes to Minnesota. Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, maybe
and
she
then,
might even be the only one in Minnesota.
Yeah,
because I don't know where the other ones ended up. It kind of bothered me a little bit.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say it kind of bothers me. Like I think you're sort of addressing this a little bit, that at one point collecting used to be sort of something everyone could do, but now it's sort of become, it's only affordable for millionaires.
I mean, I'm really lucky that I started when I did. I mean, I only started in 2019, which wasn't that long ago.
Yeah,
but
no, it's not.
What happened was the pandemic happened, and everyone was at home and they were still doing auctions. So Prop Store, Heritage, they were really pumping out marketing for that, and that hit a lot of eyeballs, and so the hobby really kind of exploded into the mainstream like it's never done before. And it's made it really difficult to get anything. Things that, even when I started would be, $600 pieces are now $6,000 pieces, which is a little ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm really thankful that I got in kind of right before it really kind of took off. So yeah. And Michael, I mean, you're lucky that you started so long ago.
Well, yeah, and the only prop store pieces are the ones that I have that people are getting rid of. So like I'm secondhand prop store guy. So it's really great because the packaging is fantastic and their documentation is pretty good. And but yeah, I can't. The combo. Well, it just kept moving.
Well, and now too, all of these auction houses have, I mean, really kind of gotten too big for their britches, and they're adding all these extra fees, and And now, the premium fees are going up. I think some of them are at like 28% now, which is kind of crazy.
Wow.
And now they charge for credit card fees. You have taxes
Yeah. And
and shipping,
delivery,
and
shipping.
delivery, and then like now they
Yeah.
charge like handling, which is crazy. Handling for what? I don't know. So yeah, there's a lot of extra expenses that go into it that aren't advertised when you're bidding.
Mhm.
So whenever I'm bidding, I always have to take into account, okay, there's going to be an extra, let's say, $800 tacked on to whatever my winning bid is. And you have to take that into account
Wow.
because it's so easy to get swept up in, oh, this is only $600. Well, in reality, actually, it's more like, $1,600, depending on where it's
Mhm.
from. So, which
There's
is
some things,
unfortunate.
I think there's some things that are always going to be kind of expensive, like, they
Yeah.
know their property. But like I was thinking about this the other day, that I interviewed the costume designer who did the movie The Room with Tommy
Hmm.
Brazo or what have you.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
remember I mentioned it to her and she was like so embarrassed. And I'm like, oh my God, you have to embrace that. That is so cool. Like that's kind of iconic, the fact that it was considered like one of the worst movies, but then they did a movie about it. And then, so something like that, for instance, let's say if you ended up with some costumes from that, that probably would have some value. So sometimes
Yeah.
things that you would think are absolutely not worth anything,
Yeah.
it's like action figures. You go out and buy an action figure for a Superman movie or something. It's probably not going to
Yeah.
have any value. It's the thing that probably wasn't expected to do
Yeah.
well. Like
Yeah.
Alien wasn't expected maybe to do,
Yeah.
or Star Wars
Yeah.
wasn't expected to do that well. So, but George kind of
Yeah.
knew like that he needed to get some merch out. So he was a very smart business person that way.
Hey, on the
Yeah.
subject of shipping things and fees and things, I want to give a positive plug for the people handling the Planet Hollywood stuff because they shortchanged me an item. I emailed them and they're FedExing it. No questions asked. So that some good service things are happening out there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Luna, I think she missed it when we were talking about this. She says, it seems such a lucrative business. Have you seen any forgeries being sold as authentic? And William was speaking to that, Luna. Would you mind repeating that, William?
Yeah.
What you were telling us earlier?
You have to be careful. You never know. Just because something comes with a certificate of authenticity doesn't mean
Mhm.
that it's necessarily legit. Um, so you kind of always have to do your own research. Because I collect fantasy costumes, like it's pretty obvious if it's real or not because some of the stuff you just can't replicate. But you have to be careful because there's definitely a time where I've spent like $2,000 on stuff. It came from what I thought was a okay source, and it got here, and it was all stuff from Party City, and
Mhm.
they refused to give me my money back. Thankfully, I purchased it through PayPal, which has an
Oh yeah.
amazing like
Yeah.
buyer's protective service.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to get into the prop collecting business, you really got to do your own research because the only person at the end of the day that's going to protect, your finances is going to be you. So, I don't know. It's, as far as like knowing the authenticity, it does help, knowing the right places to go to. Like prop stores, usually pretty legit, but even prop store, sometimes we'll get things wrong,
Mhm.
because a lot of these, auction houses are receiving things from, people who are, consigning stuff. So sometimes things slip through the cracks and, replicas are sold as the real deal and vice versa.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but,
I saw a
but yeah,
jacket come up for auction. It claimed to be James Dean's jacket from Rebel Without a Cause,
yeah,
and it wasn't. And I ended up finding, I think the real one. Like I'm sure there were several that were made,
yeah,
but
sure.
this person claimed it was. There was no like certificate. Like so
Yeah,
sometimes it would have gone to maybe someone on the crew who would have ended up with it, and
yeah,
then they could say, yes, this was used, but or there's
yeah,
labels inside of it from the costume houses that would have made it,
yeah,
like angels or something like that. Like for instance, one of my favorite stories I like telling is that Angels in London. I think it used to be Angels and Bermans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Nathan's and Berman's. They actually had the Obi-Wan Kenobi cloak from the original Star Wars movie in their stock. They didn't know they had it, and it had been rented out, and people had used it as a monk's robe and things like that. And then one day they found it, and they're like, Alec Guinness's name was in it, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's Sir Alec Guinness." So you know, things like that
that happens a lot. Yeah.
And then, like,
you know, a lot of movie costumes are just recycled into rental stock, and they just kind of disappear. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, William, do you want to do the little tour then? We can maybe That's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Like you've been there physically in that space, correct?
A few times. I might not be 15. I might not be up to 15 yet, but it's up there.
Yeah. I think that's awesome that someone comes in. Now, William, one of the things I asked you before when I had you on to do the tour is you said that I said maybe you would get some press in. Have you had any press come in?
A little bit. We had Channel 5 come in. Yeah, and they did a little special. But other than that, not really, unfortunately.
You need a publicist.
What do you guys want to? Yeah. What should we look at first?
Do you want to look? You said you got a. Oh, do you mind if we look at the Bill
Ice
Nye
Queen?
Costume from Underworld?
Yeah. Well, I'm over by the Ice Queen stuff now.
Yeah, let's do that first. Let's do the Ice Queen first then. Here's the Winter Wonderland with all the
Usually the lights aren't on in here, but
how many trees?
It's got to be like 60 at this point.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
But you've made a little path to walk through, right? Oh, there's
I have snowflakes and Minotaur.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's the crown. Wow. Oh. And the display lights up?
It does light up, yeah. So that's her crown from the first movie.
Trees. You need to cut down a few.
I know.
Oh, wow. Amazing. So, Michael, did you help with some of those different, I don't know what you call them, display boards or?
Absolutely. All of them. We're slowly upgrading anything that he had prior to that. And the big challenge, of course, is finding a good matching image of high enough quality to print. But then we've also taken it on ourselves to kind of have some content too. So there's a lot of research that goes into them. I try to fact check stuff as a professor. It's like really important to kind of, mind your sources a little bit. So I'll do double checking on things and try to connect the dots. I've written a couple of short film books. So it's, it's an extension of that kind of creative outputs that I enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's done a great job on the sign.
Amazing. Now, Michael, have you ever taken your students to the museum?
No. A lot of them, they're like an hour away. So it's hard for us to get over there.
Sure.
But I've mentioned it many times and tell folks that it's definitely worth it. The price that he's asking for admission is right on, I think.
Like, here's the Hunger Games.
Value. Yeah.
PETA, I love you, PETA. Katniss Everdeen. She's my girl. Now you don't have we have to get you her bow and arrow. I don't think you have the
quiver.
Do you have the quiver? I saw the
I don't have the quiver.
I saw it come up for auction, but I think it was
it was a lot.
Yeah. And there's Wonka chocolate. Now, usually you have, so usually William has like lights on. Oh, there's this beautiful Anne with an E. And you've got Diana as well. I forgot that.
I do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is your Anne wig new? Is that different?
No, it's the same.
Oh, is it okay? It's really good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, the hairstyling is a really big part, and I really love it.
One of the things that it was really fun is I introduced William to Ann Dixon, who was the costume designer on Anne with an E, and she helped him sort of identify where to get the stockings. And I think You had a reproduction of the belt done as well for her, I believe.
The belt is great.
Yeah.
Looks terrific.
Oh, wow. Look at these rock
know.
displays.
I love
Those
it.
are amazing. I don't remember those from before.
No, these are the ones that.
Those are
Yeah.
from the student. The student?
Yeah, look at the quality.
Holy
Isn't that crazy?
crap.
I know.
Wow, that kid has like a future.
So this was made by a guy named Brad. He and his partner, who are these like set builders.
Holy shit, those are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am Spartacus. Wow, and you got a nice curvy mannequin for that one dress. That dress looks gorgeous. That's
Doesn't it
supposed
look
to be
great?
Lawless's, right? The red
This
one?
red one.
Yeah, that's supposed to be Lawless. Yeah, that's a great mannequin.
There's so many amazing details on this
Yeah, beautiful fabrics.
thing.
Now,
Mhm.
have you had any of the designers? I know we were aside from Cynthia Summer. Have you had any
Cynthia and
other
Anne.
Cynthia?
Uh,
And Anne. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And then Eduardo Castro from
Oh,
Once Upon a Time.
yes.
He follows the Facebook page and will comment
Mhm.
quite often whenever I tag him, which is pretty cool.
Now, of the Once Upon a Time costumes, how many do you have?
I think I have 15.
That's really good.
Yeah.
It's a great spread too. I mean, he's got
Yeah.
one of everything kind of. He's really straight.
Absolutely, because you've got Charming and you've got a Snow and you've got a Beauty, or Belle, I should say. And I'm just going off the top of my head, you've got the fairy,
The blue fairy.
the blue fairy that looks like a jellyfish.
And Maleficent.
And Maleficent. Yep.
The lights aren't on over here, but
Yeah. And how many square feet is the space? I think you were saying
it's 15,000.
Yeah, Regina. Now, do you have any Regina Mills costumes?
I don't. So Regina, so Lana Priya, the actress who played Regina, kept all of them. She pulled a U-Haul up to the wardrobe department on the last day and took them all.
That's so funny. Well, she might have had something in her contract saying that she could have it. Oh, and you have
I think she did.
Mulan as well.
I do. And Aurora.
Yeah. And Aurora. Yeah. Actually, it's funny because I was just watching, I watched this really bad movie. It was kind of a funny movie. It's an Adam Sandler movie, and the actress who plays Mulan was in it. And I was like, I know her from somewhere. Where do I know her? Do you know the one I'm talking about? It's like these
Jamie
old
Chung?
dads. It's these old dads that all get together, and they went to elementary school together, and they all get together, and she plays like one of the hot daughters or something like that. But I was like, I know her. Who is she? And I had to look it up. Oh, yeah. And Hook, of course. And, the actor who played Pinocchio, he's on From now. I think he's Pinocchio. The one he turns to wood. Yeah, he plays Jim on From. I don't know if you've seen that show. Because I was thinking about when you were talking about Hodor. So From is one of the showrunners. His name's Jack Bender, or he's one of the directors. He directed the episode Hold the Door. Hodor. He directed that episode. So he was chatting about that the other day on a podcast. Oh, Freddie. Oh, no, Wolverine. Yes, Queen. Which one is that from?
Days of Future Past.
Oh, amazing. Hugh Jackman wore those. That's so cool to think about that, right?
Yeah. And then this one's new. So we don't have a sign for this one yet, but this
Who
is
that?
Hancock, Will Smith's costume.
Oh, sorry. Is that which one?
Will Smith's costume from Hancock.
Oh, you know what? Actually, that movie is directed by, I can't remember the name of the actor, but he's an actor turned director.
Michael Glazer, wasn't it?
Michael Glazer. Is it? Because Hancock, his superpower is he has to drink, if I remember. Yeah. When he drinks alcohol, he gets his powers. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Oh, you have American Gods. When did you get that?
I've had these for a while.
Oh my God. That's Sudarat Larlab, I think, is the designer. My friend worked on this show. He did painting and breakdown on that show. I'll have to tell
Oh,
him that you
really?
have 2 of his outfits. Yes, Wayne. So what's the robe? What's the robe that's with
That's Shadow Moon.
oh, that's Shadow Moon. Okay.
Yeah, from
That's I
season
think his
3.
ceremony. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
Laura
and
though,
I
the
have her
dress.
like their like wedding photo, which is funny.
Yeah. The dress
And
there,
then
that's her dress. She
a
basically
little
wears that.
Kristen Chenoweth.
Oh. Oh my gosh, so cute. She was Easter. Oh, there it is. Wow, so Michael, you've been busy.
I
'Cause
don't
you
even know how many we've got at this point.
Holy
It's
cow.
crazy.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is
But that
gorgeous.
is, yeah, you
Dead
can see why
Wife,
that's my
yes.
favorite.
Peter
Yeah.
Berg, thank you. Peter Berg directing
Peter Berg.
Hancock.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to remember. Wow. Another way that have you done any like photo shoots of any of these?
Me?
Yeah,
No,
William.
not these ones. I mean, no. I mean, this guy was $5,000. So, I mean, this, I wouldn't put him on anyone.
No, I mean, have you taken any photos on your mannequins?
Oh, not yet. No, I should.
Yeah. Now, what's that made out of? Is it leather?
It is leather. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's
You know
very
what
thick.
though? That is worth $5,000.
Oh, absolutely.
It probably
Well, and
costs $5,000 to make it.
Easy.
yeah.
It's fully lined and it's leather.
Yeah.
That probably costs $5,000
One
to
has got
make.
like velvet on the sleeves here.
Holy shit. Yeah, that's stunning.
It probably cost more to make than
It
$5,000.
probably did. So you're actually getting, that's actually a steal. And
Mhm.
it'll just go up in value.
Oh, it
Wow,
already
this is
has.
Absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah. One,
It looks
the
so much
back
more
is
nice.
it's got all these metal
Yeah.
pieces as well.
It's way more gorgeous than the pictures you sent me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's absolutely
Yeah.
stunning. Mink wants
Yeah.
that. Mink,
Yeah.
she's going to try and break into your museum and take it.
So to have the
And
set
there's
is pretty cool.
Yeah. And there's Celine. I keep saying Satine. That's another movie. I love the color too. It's kind of like a purpley red color.
Yeah, it's too bad in that film that they sucked all the color out of everything.
They always do. I hate that.
Yeah, that was a big thing in that era too. It's like,
Yeah. Oh, look, is it Soros?
Saoirse.
Saoirse. I know she'd be really mad at me. That's got to be one of her first movies. See, that'll probably be worth a
Yeah.
lot because I
Yeah.
think that's one of the very first movie. Oh no, she's done a few movies as a kid, I think, right?
Yeah, like Lovely Bones.
right.
Yeah. And there's your beautiful series of unfortunate events. Yeah, Mink is going to break into your museum and take it back to London, she's saying.
This is my second favorite section.
Yeah, the great is the
'Cause they
costumes in that are so wonderful.
This is, I think, where it feels most like a museum because these pieces are
Absolutely.
so just elegant and
You've done so much since you last did the tour with me. Like
Yeah.
you have.
he's always fussing with making things better.
Yeah, how many Elle Fanning dresses do you have?
3.
And then you've got Peter.
I have 3 of each.
3 of Peter as well. That's like that one there. Oh my God. That's the first outfit she wears, isn't it? At the beginning of the season?
No, but it's one of the first. Yeah, this is one of her season 1s. Yeah.
Or maybe that's the one. There's one where she's carrying. I cracked me right up. She's carrying, what do you call them? They're like little almond cookies. She's got like a box of them, and she's carrying them, and she's getting all muddy, and she's handing them out to the soldiers who are half dead. Like,
Yeah.
Here, would you like a cookie?
So this dress is from that scene for
it is okay.
Elizabeth. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she wears that when they do
her outfits are amazing. Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
But that scene just cracked me right up. Yeah, Corey said like 12 meters of fabric. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Oh, Now, Michael, did you also do those backdrop pictures, like the ones they're
We
kind of
did,
like a
yeah.
banner?
It's been really fun to work in a medium that I don't do a lot of, which is
Oh,
oversized. So we've got
so nice.
the whole place. If you can imagine 15,000 square foot, it's probably 5,000 across on the front. We've done
Yeah.
the whole thing up with floor to ceiling banners in
Yeah.
branding. So
It's
there's
so
a lot of
beautiful.
investment in this.
Yeah, and you've got hanging banners, but I love how you did the wainscoting. Like
Yeah,
it looks
thanks.
like a wall,
I
you
thought it was a
know?
good
I
idea.
thought that's
Yeah.
amazing. And then there's Viking. We're getting the cheap and cheerful tour, everyone. It's like a quick little one. We'll have to have you back, William, and then we can do a
Yeah.
full tour because you've done a lot since I last saw you. Oh, look at that. What is that?
It's one of Peter's.
Oh,
Man, they
it
just
was
went to town on that show. It's unbelievable.
amazing.
Yeah.
Now, it was funny because I saw an interview that they did with Nicholas Hoult, and we were talking about Hugh Grant earlier. They had the two of them together. They hadn't seen each other
Yeah.
since what's that
About
movie?
a
They
boy.
Were Boy. So he was like, "Oh yeah, well, I've been doing this show called The Great." And he was trying to explain it. He was trying to explain it to Hugh Grant. It was really funny. Like Hugh Grant has been following his career, but it was really funny him
Pretend
trying to
that he
explain
doesn't.
about it,
No.
about the show, and that it's not actually like historical and all that. And what's that one from? That's Vikings, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember you having those.
I had them, but they weren't on nice mannequins. I've spent a lot of
Okay.
money plussing the mannequins, trying
Oh
to
my
get more full
gosh. Well, you
body
have to
ones.
raise your rent now. You're gonna have to start raising your rates. The quality is there. Look at her wig.
Uh-huh.
That is gorgeous. And the fabrics on that are really different.
Well, they hand weaved all of these fabrics
Oh my
from
God.
scratch, and then hand dyed them all as well.
So gorgeous.
There's so
Now,
much
before you put these
detail.
on mannequins, do you throw them on your bed and just roll around on them? That's probably what I would do.
Sometimes.
I'd be like, oh, or I'd probably put them on and pretend that I'm like,
Well,
I'm a
even like the
queen.
tunics. I mean, like, look at all of that
It's just beautiful.
detail.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'm the queen. I'd be walking around like I put on a plastic crown the other day and I was pretending I was Cersei Lannister. It was kind of sad. So I just can't even imagine what would happen if I put one of these on.
Well, you'd be weighed down. They're giant.
Exactly. Now, also, William, I think you have some jewelry, or do you usually just put them in the displays when you get the jewelry? How does that usually work?
Well,
If you get a ring or something.
I don't often go for jewelry. I mean, if it comes with a costume, then I'll put it on display with the mannequin usually.
Yeah.
But I always try and add things whenever I can to really make the display look good. So, for example, I added this necklace.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
Even though she does, she doesn't come with the dress, but it just adds a little something to the display a little bit.
Yeah, everyone else would try the costumes on too. I'm just not the only one. I mean, I wouldn't do it if I obviously, like when I'm working on a show, I would never do that because you're not supposed to. But once the show's done and everything, I would totally try it on. And if you had something by Alexander Skarsgård, I probably would put it on just so I could smell it. Which I thought you did. Don't you have an Eric? I thought you had an Eric or you have an Alexander Skarsgård. Maybe. Oh, yes, you do from The Northman.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I would probably put that on just so I could smell it.
I have a Vampire Bill.
Do you have Vampire Bill?
I do. It's
No
from
way.
the flashback scene in season 3 where it's back
Oh
to
my
him
God,
on the
that's so
plantation.
cool.
Yeah, it's really neat. It's some of it's off the rack stuff, but the code.
Oh, that's still really cool. Yeah, because he's married to Anna Paquin in real life, right?
Yeah.
I did come around the corner one day and I found someone smelling pita from the Hunger Games, which I thought was really funny.
Did you say, well, I guess, do you have a no touch policy, by the way?
I do,
yeah.
But I don't have a no sniffing policy, so I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
It's legal.
Yeah, sniffing is okay. That's so funny. Yeah, no, you also have actually Nicole Kidman's costume also from The Northman, if I remember.
Yeah.
And the one where that scene is so gruesome. Because I always imagine that, like, if I lived back then and being sacrificed and then having Nicole Kidman take my blood and splatter it, that would be awful. Yeah, there she is.
And it came with like the little pin.
Oh, the brooch.
Yeah.
The brooch itself is probably worth quite a bit.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, no, and also I'm assuming that, we've talked a bit about this. So when, depending on who the actor is who wears the costume, that's obviously going to give it more value. Like if Hugh Jackman wore it, or Nicole Kidman, or Alexander Skarsgård, or I'm trying to think of any other famous.
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway. Because
like
that's
the
Mel
A-lister.
Enchanted.
Yeah.
Will's got a Matt Damon.
Oh,
I do have Matt
yeah,
Damon.
you've got which Matt Damon do you have again?
From the Great Wall.
The Great Wall, yes. That's a huge hit in China, apparently.
This looks like it was made for them.
They asked for him, apparently, because there was some discussion about it being like inappropriate to cast him, but then that's who they wanted to be in it, apparently. So they asked him. So, hey, remember you had that series of? Oh, there he is. Yeah, you had that series of set of armors, like they're all beautiful colors. Did you? Is that?
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
Is that these here?
They're here. Yeah.
Because I don't think you had those out last time you toured with me. Yeah, like that scale mail looks kind of like something you might see in House of the Dragon or Game of Thrones.
So I may or may not have gifted Michael a couple of these for all of his hard work on the signs.
Yeah,
and he found out a little tidbit of information that he told me earlier today.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a picture of the original terracotta warriors in China being unearthed, and they are these colors. They are the red and that purple. Exactly.
Oh, wow.
And then apparently those colors, the paint faded when it was exposed to the air. So they're now, of course, their natural sort of terracotta color, but based in fact, I guess. I put the purple on yesterday. And,
did you?
Yeah, it took a lot of effort at my age to reach some of the straps and things, but it's like about a 40-pounder. And
wow.
I don't know how they did any stunts in those, but they're
and like the gold and the purple together are just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Mink says Matt Damon. I'm assuming she's doing the Starship Troopers, or what's that other show called?
Team America.
Team America. Yeah. Corey says the Angelina Jolie booby bindings, I imagine, got to be kept from the nose.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys are hilarious. Jackie asked where the museum is. Do you want to, William? Do you want to tell her?
I'm located in Maplewood at the Maplewood Mall.
Yeah.
In Minnesota.
Maplewood's just north of St. Paul.
Angelina Jolie booby bindings for you guys.
Yep. Yeah, again, like I can't even believe how much you've done since you last gave us the tour. Like the signage and the displays are just so amazing. There's Ron Weasley. Is it Quidditch?
Mm-hmm.
Quidditch, yeah. So gorgeous. Oh, there's Thing. Thing there.
He's in the corner because I'm using this platform.
So you need to get a mirror.
I know.
As Michael said, so then you'll have two things. So Jackie says, nice. If I ever go to Minnesota, then I will definitely visit. Wonderful.
He just had a new movie come out.
I just saw it. It's really
good.
Yeah,
it is really good. Carry On.
Carry On. Yeah. The only thing I was disappointed is they didn't have the song Carry On in it. I don't know if it's called Carry On. Carry On or Wayward Son. I thought they should have had
from
that.
Supernatural.
Yes, from Supernatural, exactly. I thought that would have been funny. Yeah. Oh, those look so pretty together. Look how pretty that is. So that was worn by Anne Hathaway.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have you had any local celebrities come in?
We had Richard Karn from Home Improvement come in.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. He was at the mall doing like a meet and greet and he stopped by.
Oh, that's so fun. Do you
Yeah.
get staff from the mall coming in? Do they get a, by the way, do the staff from the mall get a discount? Like if they work at the mall?
They do. They do indeed.
That's nice.
I'm waiting for Josh Hartnett to walk through my door.
Hell yeah.
Every day I'm like, today's the day.
Does he live in Minneapolis?
He lives in Minnesota, allegedly. So
Oh, no way.
yeah.
I love him.
Someone told me the other day that they saw him at the zoo, at the Minnesota Zoo.
No way.
So he's here somewhere,
Yeah.
roaming around.
You should send out an invite to him.
I should. I don't know how, but
He's
he
got
does.
kids.
Yeah. I might faint, to be honest, if Josh Hartnett walked through the door.
Actually, that makes sense because the movie that he just did was shot in Toronto. So I was a little bit disappointed that I didn't see him because he was in Toronto shooting that. Trap.
So many things.
Oh, it's just crazy. Now, what's the average time period that someone will spend at your museum?
It depends on the person, but anywhere from usually about 20 minutes to an hour, roughly, especially since I opened up the new section here because I didn't have this open before.
Oh, okay. Now, do you have anything interactive? Like, do you have like a cutout where people could put their faces and take pictures? Like dressed in some of the costumes? You should do that. That'd be fun.
But I have a
thing I
throne.
want to do.
I have a throne for people to sit on now in the gift shop.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because where do they do their selfies and stuff?
Yeah. But yeah, this is the new Umbrella Academy section.
Oh, so nice. You definitely have to message Christopher Hargadon. But is this season 3 then?
I got stuff from all 4 seasons.
You have to message him because he lives in Canada.
Yeah, so this is season 3, I think, for these two, and then season 2.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I watched your guys' interview for preparation for the auction on what.
Oh, nice.
I've
had him on a few times. He's so nice.
Your video is like one of the only videos on the entire internet talking about the costume design from the show, which is kind of crazy. Yeah.
And he also did Hannibal, which I told him I can't see because I am afraid of cannibals. So I said to him, I'm sure it's a good show, but unfortunately I won't be watching it.
Pretty specific.
But the design on it looks really good. Oh, is there 5? Oh, I love him. Amazing. Oh, it's so great. And you've got the whole thing. Wow. And there's Robert. That's his sort of guru. Yep. Maharishi kind of look.
And you and Christopher talked a lot about this costume in your video. So that's kind of why I decided to get it, because he gave a lot of insight on
you have to you should message him on Instagram. He'll respond to you.
I will.
Yeah, he will for sure. He's so nice. I think that might even be, I'm trying to remember if that's how I reached out to him originally. Oh, so nice. Yeah, Jackie's saying fingers crossed for Josh Hartnett that he comes in. Yeah, and then
I got this giant painting too. Just so cool.
I love it.
It's 6 feet tall, which is crazy. Yeah.
So, and if anyone doesn't know, so the Hargreaves is played by Colm Feore, who's like one of Canada's sort of iconic actors. He's like a Stratford actor. He lives in Stratford, Ontario. Sir Reginald. Yeah, so that's so cool. Christopher will be through the moon that you have all these together. He really will.
Was he the designer all the way through season 4, or was he just on a couple?
No, they brought in a new one. I'm not sure why. I think he had to go on he told me I think he was working on another project. So I'm not sure why. But he basically, he really did sort of curate the look, I think. Oh, so cute. That's when she's a little girl, I guess, right? I'm trying to remember what that is.
So in season 2, Klaus dies and he goes to heaven,
Okay, yeah.
and he meets God, which is this like little girl,
Oh, okay, yes. I
and
totally.
they're in like black and white, if you remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and what's neat about Christopher as well is he used to have his own like huge collection of clothes. Like he used to think rent them or sell them or whatever.
Yeah, I remember him saying that
Hmm.
in the
Yeah.
video. My personal favorite is Kate Walsh.
Oh, yes, of course. And she's got the spider brooch on her hat.
She
Like she's kind of
does.
like a spider.
Ridiculous hat. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
That
And
jacket
and
is something else.
yeah, and it's very croc like alligator like.
Her and
Oh, I think that's like
Rumpelstiltskin would
armor.
be best friends.
Oh my God, it's amazing. And
You
her
know, I feel
boots.
sorry for the regular people who go to movies or watch shows and they watch it for the story and they get upset about the story because there's just so much other things going on
For
to
sure.
sustain you. I mean, look at this. I could stare at this for hours.
Absolutely. Also, what's really fun, and William, I know you've done this, like you look at the lining, you look on the inside, just, you get to see the details on how something's
Hmm.
made. It's very cool. The team who made these costumes are very talented. I know
Yeah.
he had a very talented team.
Well, I think, some shows are different. I mean,
Mhm.
with Umbrella, a lot of it is unfortunately off the rack.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, it's pretty well designed for the most part, the stuff that they do make from scratch. Like
Mhm.
all of the Umbrella Academy uniforms they did from scratch.
I
Obviously,
think that
Clout.
I feel like those might have been made by Siam Costumes. There's a costume company that does a lot of like if they need to do a lot of duplicates and everything,
Hmm.
they do uniforms and stuff like that. So they have to, just they don't have the time.
I think as far as my personal collection goes, nothing tops the Great and Vikings for
Yeah,
costume
absolutely.
design. Because especially with Vikings, I mean, there's so much detail. But with the Great, I mean, these fabrics are just so luxurious
Yeah.
and detailed. I don't know if you can see it in the dark here, but the lining is even just so phenomenal, and you don't even see that on screen. And
I
this coat
know.
is like 30 pounds
Yeah,
of fabric, and it's just everything, is just so couture and
it is.
detailed. Um, and everything has a lining, everything has a real pocket.
Hmm.
Um, they really spared no expense on the costume design for these costumes.
Well, it's such a big
Um,
part of performance. If Nick Holt puts that on, he gets cocky, right?
Yeah,
He gets
of course.
mean, and so it rubs off and it translates to the screen, even the stuff you don't see, I think.
Yeah, like that's what I just did Dune Prophecy, and Mark Strong, who I'm a huge fan. He's such a great actor. He said, he put on the costume. He plays Emperor Carino in the show, and that is like, a big part of him getting into character. He's suddenly like, I feel like a different person. I'm not, because he always plays sort of
Yeah, he does.
a bad guy. And in this, he's supposed to be, I think, a little bit more like, he's not a strong leader, but he's supposed to not be a menacing character. He's supposed to be more regal, and I think so. I think it really does lend itself to it. I was like, his costume in that show is absolutely gorgeous, and so I loved hearing him talking about how that. But a lot of actors say that they'll say they put on the costumes, like Shogun, for instance, like after they're in their outfits, like that's just such a huge part of getting into character. So, oh, what is that again? Oh, look
this
at
is like a
that.
deleted scene cloak that they never ended up using in the show, but it's just like
Um,
molten gold.
from the Great.
No, it's from Vikings,
Oh my God, it's gorgeous.
and it's all gold leaf, which is insane.
That's crazy. So again, like some of these things, like these are examples of costumes that you've gotten that are probably the cost to make it is probably more than what you paid for it.
Oh,
And then
absolutely.
whereas some other things, they go for like such crazy amounts of money, and it's
Yeah,
just
well, I mean, it's insane. So,
Mhm.
for example, I have a fox fur on one costume from Sears and Unfortunate Events, and I surprisingly got the receipt for it of what the production spent on it, and it was like $1,200 just for this,
Yeah,
and I got it for $100
that's crazy.
for the whole
Now,
thing, and it came
now
with
in
like the
that
shoes and
case,
everything.
in that case, they might just be wanting to recoup some of the money. Like they're not expecting they're going to get it all back because it. But in some cases, like in the case of Game of Thrones, I mean, they're making a massive amount of money. Because I knew when I used to work in wardrobe, we would sell everything, and we would never sell it at what we paid for it because we're just trying to recoup a bit of the money back.
Well, HBO will never recoup their money on that show.
No,
Yeah, they did.
it's crazy. And you've got Lemony. Oh, and then you've also got Lemony Snicket there, right?
Yeah.
Which is
Don't know
what's the
why.
actor's name?
Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris.
It's a
Michael,
great.
you're so good. Well, Michael did all the signs, so that's why he knows
I know,
everything.
yeah, I studied.
I was going, how did
but I'm
you
okay
these?
at
Like,
that
I
trivia
can't
shit.
remember anything.
That's a great
But
mannequin for him too. It's so
yeah,
accurate. Yeah.
this is so great. Like, look at you could, you know what? You could do some, like, I'm always trying to tell you what to do. You don't have to listen to me. But I was thinking you could do some like TikToks with like something like that. That would be very fun.
I love these heels because the
Mhm.
heels are knives, which is
It's so
crazy.
cool. Yeah. I love it. Yeah, and her hat there. What kind of music do you usually play when people come in? Do you play music?
Yes. So, well, right now I also have like a theater projection that I put on the
Mhm.
wall here.
Yep.
And it'll play different clips from some of the things that we have. So that's kind of the noise in the back right part here. And then in the front, I have music from Once Upon a Time usually playing.
Oh yeah.
Um, and then obviously the Narnian music in Narnia. And
I
then
like the costumes from Rings of Power. At least season 1. I haven't seen season 2, but it's
if anyone's getting any costumes from Lord of the Rings, it's probably going to be from Rings of Power
yeah. I like them though.
because
Like season
I
1 is
haven't
8.
I have no idea what happened to like the real costumes from the movies. They all kind of just disappeared after the films ended. My guess is Peter Jackson
Mm,
has a warehouse somewhere where he
probably.
has them all.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Warner Brothers haven't even put them on display before, so
They never toured or anything?
I don't think so. No.
Well, it's just gorgeous. Oh, there's Baby Yoda or Groot. Or Groot.
That's Baby
Groot.
Yoda.
Baby, what's his name? Groot? Groot? What's his real
Grogu.
name? Grogu, thank you. Groot is the tree.
Baby tree.
The baby tree.
It's a baby
Yeah.
tree.
Grogu.
There's the baby claws.
He's so cute. Where are the claws from?
Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, those are Dan Stevens then.
They are. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Those are pretty cool. Again,
Yeah.
like how much would something like that cost to make? That would be a lot.
Yeah.
William, I
And
just
I
finished
gotta
wearing sparkly pants. Are you wearing sparkly pants?
no.
Oh my God, I could see them in the reflection. That's so fun.
What else haven't I shown you yet?
You're always styling.
I am.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought maybe Weta as well, Corey, but yeah, I don't know. This is a really good costume. That's from, I love those low riding pants.
Those are about the best pants ever.
Yeah. And even the vest is nice too. It's beautiful.
Material is beautiful leather.
Mhm.
It's like the best leather I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Like kind of that buttery leather.
Totally.
It's like a Aragon, right? Aragon?
Aragon.
Aragon. That was one of your favorite movies as a kid?
It was. Well, favorite books. The movie was
Favorite
terrible.
books.
We don't
Okay.
talk about it. It's
Okay.
too soon.
Jackie says she wishes she had sparkly pants. This is the behind the scenes?
It is.
Or are you going into the
jungle.
The jungle? Do you play jungle music in there?
I do.
That's so fun. The Lost World. Oh yeah, that's you only have the one from Peter Pan. Oh, that would be another one that would be nice to get from Once Upon a Time is Peter Pan. If I recall, that was a nice
they never sold any of his, so I think
okay.
Disney. They're all in the Disney archive, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. They didn't burn them. Was it Disney who does that? That burns the costumes?
Yeah, more often than not. Yeah, they'll
Jeez,
incinerate.
isn't that awful?
But I do have Tink once.
Oh.
At least her deleted scene outfit.
Yeah.
Which still kind of cool.
It's really
She's wearing
nice.
sparkly pants too.
It's sparkly.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, Luna has a question for you. Okay, Luna, here it is. She's asking, do you have to use any environmental controls such as lighting, temperature, etc.? That's a good question for your museum.
Actually, no, because there's no windows in the museum. So everything is light protected because I'm in a mall. So I don't have to worry about that, which is amazing. As far as temperature, it's a pretty consistent temperature always in the museum. So I try and keep it, room temperature.
Yeah.
You have to remember that Minnesota invented the indoor mall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did.
So.
Oh, there's the wardrobe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess like for the display lights and stuff, you don't use anything that's too harsh. Yeah. Like you've got your work lamps and stuff on now, but those aren't the lights you usually have on, right?
Right. But Michael hates the lighting.
Lighting is
a little bit.
Lighting is our opportunity, right? Of all the things to be able to add to this. Good lighting is
absolutely
the missing key.
Corey did the wardrobe. He's asking me
Corey,
to show him out.
Yeah. So Corey
on the wardrobe.
Yeah, Corey came in the day before we opened and helped me break down the wardrobe.
Where'd you get the wardrobe from?
I got it on Facebook Marketplace of all places.
Because I don't remember you having this before. Did you have this?
I did, yeah.
I don't remember you having it when we did.
There's a giant block there because that's what you guys were sitting on earlier.
Oh, okay. That's so fun.
But yeah, I had another friend who helped me go pick it up. And then Mason helped me bring it here in his car. So it was really the help of 3 people to make the wardrobe happen. And now it's kind of iconic and everyone's favorite part of the museum to like walk through it. And because people don't know it's there. They can see that it's a wardrobe, but they don't know that there's stuff behind it.
So did you have to remove the back end of it?
I did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then Corey stabilized it as well so that people could like walk on it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's so fun.
Yeah, furniture doesn't take kindly to removing a huge chunk of it and having people walk through.
Exactly. Oh, there's a close up of the character you were showing us.
Yeah, check out that hair.
It's so cool. Oh, and the spoons too. Yeah. Oh, that's really fun. Because that's kind of similar to
Cindy Lou Who.
Cindy Lou Who. Mm-hmm. And there's the list, the naughty and the nice list. And then
that's some centaurs from Narnia here.
Yeah. Now you have to remind me, James McAvoy's not in this movie, is he? Or you don't have his costume?
He is, yeah. I don't have his costume, but I have a fawn.
Oh, you do? Okay.
It's not him. Yeah. So that's little ears attached.
Luna says your museum is absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, thank
She
you.
said gorgeous, but I think she means gorgeous.
Maybe that's Grogu's full name.
Grogu, or yeah,
Groguius.
exactly. Oh, look at him. Amazing. Oh, so good. And I know she had one tree that doesn't have any, it's just green.
Scary.
Well, normally I don't have the lights on in here, so I can get away
Yeah.
with sometimes having a little
It's
green
magical.
tree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice having some green trees.
No one's ever seen the back of Edmund.
No.
So, I mean, this is something that you don't. Yeah, so this is like one of the original belts, and you never get to see like all the detail they put into these things on
It's
screen.
crazy. Well, I think from what I've talked to some designers, they just never know what will be seen. So they have
Yeah.
to, like, I was talking to one designer. She's like, oh my God, that ended up on the poster. Like, I didn't know that. You know what I mean? So you just never
Yeah.
know. The mail is really nice too. They did a good job on that.
Part of the reason I bought my Stardust outfit is it is on the poster. It's like,
yeah. So even like the weapons masters, sometimes they'll say like they'll do rubber swords or things like that for the background, but then sometimes they'll end up being seen, so they have to have on hand. It's kind of crazy. Like you just never. It's different than a play. Like that's sort of my background is theater, so you kind of know what's going to happen, but in a film, you just never know what's going to happen. So
in a play, everybody's 30 feet away, and in a movie, everybody's 30 centimeters away.
Yeah, exactly. But also with the play, it's usually in the script and it's plotted, and then you kind of know what's going to happen. But in a movie, you could show up to set one day and they'll be like, okay, we need this. Yep. You're like, okay.
The biggest surprise for me.
So I think, William, have you done the full, have you been all around?
Made the circle.
Yeah, I have made
so beautiful. You probably don't ever get tired of it though, right?
Tired of walking,
I don't.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He probably gets tired of walking. Do you have one of those bands that you can measure your steps every day?
My phone does that for me.
Yeah.
How
far from the food court are you?
Food court's on the other end of the mall, so
you have to get some exercise to get. Yeah, if you want to go there.
I'm like the last place before you hit the door. So
yeah. Are you there every day?
I'm not open Monday and Tuesday.
Okay.
That makes sense. Because I mean it's still just me right now, so I can't be here all day every day.
Of course not.
So I have to take Monday and Tuesday off just for my mental health.
Of course.
But leading up to the Game of Thrones auction, I was here literally every day because I was like, I need every penny I can get my hands on. So, and that was tough, and it was tough on Mason too, because I have a partner that I also have to, worry about a little bit. So,
does he come and spend time with you there, or does he sometimes help you out?
He's so nice. So he literally comes in after he gets off of work on Wednesday and Friday, and will work with me all day on Saturday. So that's pretty amazing, and he's been a big reason why I'm able to even do any of this. So because Saturdays can get crazy, and I'm making money, but not enough to hire on someone full time yet. So he's been really great. So
that's awesome. Well, we probably should wrap up soon because it's 11:30. For me, it's 11:30. How you doing, Michael? Are you hanging in there?
Good. While Will was walking around, I did fetch my Fifth Element item in case you wanted to see that.
Oh, amazing.
And, this is the kind of thing I'm into because who would go to the trouble to replicate this? So you don't need authenticity on it, but all this great screen printing on here. This would hold all the weird cables and stuff. These are just background guys on the
I love it. It's so good. Yeah. It's so it's just Jean-Paul Gaultier is just kind of bonkers. But also like the original concept artists like Moebius, that worked on it, like such amazing talents on that show. And Yeah, one of my like definitely in my top 10 favorite movies.
Yeah, his he wrote it when he was 14, and then was able to hire all of the guys that he was inspired by, Mézières.
Oh yeah, Messier
Jean
as well.
Girard,
Exactly, like
all the
the
comic
Metal
book guys.
Hurlant kind of group, and
Bande
then
dessinée types.
yeah, it's just so like just so iconic, and I just love it, especially with Bruce Willis. You know, his health being ill and everything now.
Yeah.
It's like it's just
Prime
such a
Bruce.
great. It was such a great role for him. You know. And I just saw Mila Jovovich in a movie recently, and I just was like, oh, it's just like she was perfection in it, I think.
Yep. Well, Heidi, thanks for this opportunity.
Oh my gosh. Well, Michael, I just was going to say, I would, obviously both of you, I'd love to have you back anytime. This was so fun for me. William, thank you for giving us another like quick little tour. And you're
so welcome.
I was going to say, when you're in your set there, you look like almost like you work in like you might at like a Christmas like florist or something. Like you just everything is so beautiful and white and red and green. It's so fresh. Yeah, Luna says thanks for the tour. Opinion says it was great to meet Mason when we dropped off Victor.
Yeah.
Corey says he's proud of you.
Thanks,
Michael.
Corey.
Yeah, Michael, I'm really glad we got to meet, because I would love to have you on, like, even if it's not like about costumes and stuff, like obviously you and I like our synergy with like geekdom.
Correct.
Yeah. So maybe we can chat.
Easy for me.
Yeah. I'll have to get William to send me your contact info. That would be really, really fun.
Yeah. Thanks.
And whereabouts do you live?
So I'm in Minneapolis. Yeah.
Oh, you are in Minneapolis. So, okay. Well, anyway, so William, so just a reminder to everybody that in the pinned comment, there is William's Patreon. And if you want to support the museum, you can do $1 a month.
Yeah.
Like it's very low entry, up to 20. So there's different, what do you call them?
Tiers.
Tiers. Yes. I should know this because I have a Patreon. I'm so terrible with this stuff though. And are you going to be open during the holidays?
Yes. Yeah. Not Christmas Day, but I'll be open Christmas Eve, I think.
Oh, that's fun. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Come see Narnia for Christmas.
Absolutely. Or even over the holidays. Like a lot of people will be off and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just so happy for you. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you, Heidi.
This is just like a huge accomplishment. I can't even imagine. And it's so crazy I think that, like, because William, I think you messaged me online or on one of my videos or something originally.
Yeah.
And just to think that where you were like having all of these characters in your house at one point and they were on top of you, then to have this,
it's weird to see it come so full circle in such a short amount of time. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's been a dream of mine for over a decade to open up a museum. So the fact that I'm even sitting here right now and I have all of this and I'm able to bring it to the people of Minnesota is just so amazing and crazy. And yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's really hard. But I mean, I can't complain. I'm up and I'm running and I'm making a little bit of a profit, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of
still managing to look fabulous.
Thank you.
It's not like you're like, you still are able to put together some sparkly pants and Lagerfeld Christmassy look, which
nothing but the best for you, Heidi.
I know, and you're always hats. I love that you have hats. Michael, also, I want to thank you so much for obviously telling us your story and sharing with us what you have collected, which is so cool. I really appreciate it. And it was funny because when Michael first came on, I was like, oh, you were in a Tyrell chair, Tyrell Corporation. But he said, oh, I actually made that, which I thought was so cool that you did that. So I'm almost thinking, because I got a white chair, I'm thinking maybe I'll do that.
It was fun to do. Pause the movie, like, what's the letter?
Exactly.
It's
I
actually
know.
me and a Sharpie.
Figured out the font really and everything. Well, you're very creative. So,
thanks.
And the signage you did is it's stunning. So, like, amazing job, you guys. I'm so proud of all of you. Like,
thank you.
Yeah, so great. And I think you probably have one of the largest tree collections outside of Walmart.
I think I do. Well, keep in mind, Walmart's only seasonal. I have a full time.
Yeah. And you didn't go into the forest and take them down. So I'm very glad to know that.
I didn't. Yeah, they're all fake.
I just watched Elf. That's what made me think that. They go into
Yeah.
Central Park and they cut down a giant tree. So that was funny.
Yeah.
That's a felony. All right, well, you guys, well, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who joined. We had such a great conversation, really great chat. I appreciate all of you, and I wish all of you a happy holidays and a happy new year. However, if you want to join me tomorrow, I'm just going to do a short stream with Prop Store about the Wolf of Wall Street. It's just going to be like a dedicated stream. But if you want to pop in, we're going to do it at like 6 p.m. tomorrow night, EST. So you're welcome to join us. And Alicia and I, she was here earlier. We're probably going to do some kind of live stream over the holidays, like maybe just before New Year's or something. So anyway, stay tuned for that, everyone. Thanks again, and have a lovely evening, all. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, he's sniffing his costume. I don't blame him.